The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Everyone gather round.
What day is it?
It's Thursday.
Wake up! Wake up!
I was terrible at sports. I'm still an awful athlete. My body is bad at sports. I say that my body is bad at sports because I think my brain is good at sports. Like, I think my brain understands how a human being could, dribble down a basketball court and then make a layup. But then it has to outsource the job to my weird and feminine limbs. And so when I play basketball, it looks like I just bought my body, and I don't know how it works yet.
All right, drunken clammers, this is it. The most important game of the season. Now, is everybody drunk?
Yeah.
Aye, completely. Okay, good. And did nobody warm up?
No, I did not warm up at all.
Good, because there's nothing an unstretched, middle-aged body likes more than explosive movements. Now remember, we're here to impress the girlfriends of guys we barely know. So when you get the ball, throw it like a cannon. You must throw your arm out on every play.
It's showtime.
What a crowd you are. Fair enough. Our Thursday program is a go. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. You know, some of you in our listening audience are some lucky bastards. Some of you are currently taking life by the balls. A text message from a listener just crossed my path. And it says, "Good morning, my fellow dorks and dorkette." That's us, I guess. Today is my Friday before 10 glorious days of freedom, so let's make it a great show, shall we?
Well, no promises there, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the show sucks today for you. You got 10 days of glorious vacation looking ahead. That's awesome.
10 friggin' days. That's a text from I'm off like a prom dress. Jesus. Like Josh said, no promises on making it a great show, but enjoy your time off, you dick.
I'd almost argue we have less pressure today. We can't put him in a bad mood. There's no way he's going to be in a bad mood today.
We could do anything, couldn't we, Josh?
We could.
Oh, man. Speaking of our program, later on this morning, we're going to go ahead and try a fresh edition of a fun little thing that we call Who Dis, and how this all plays out. Got a big shot, world famous, big money type character gonna call us on the telephone. Randy Shaver and C. Willi Myles. Normally when we put together a Who Dis, it's Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Brad Ryder's not available today, so we called our comic buddy, C. Willi Myles, to stop on by, and he said absolutely. Randy Shaver and C. Willi Myles will be trying to figure out who Dis is on the telephone through a series of yes or no questions. That'll be around 7:30. We'll give it a shot.
I'm cautiously optimistic about this one because we have their phone number this time around, so we will be calling them. We're not relying on somebody to call us.
Who's plugging your nose right now?
Do you have a cold?
I have a little bit of a cold.
Oh, here we friggin' go.
Do you know how to blow your nose?
I do.
Yeah, you should try that, because Nick doesn't. So it was a legitimate question. I realized that could have sounded snarky. I didn't mean it that way.
No, he's right. I don't know how to blow my own nose.
Nick does not.
I always get snot all over the front of my shirt and in my hand, and usually on whoever's sitting next to me.
Well, if you blow your nose at any type of the way you sneeze, then I can imagine that it can get a little chaotic.
Violent.
Yes.
Although we learned this morning, I don't know who it was, but there's another loud sneezer in this building.
Oh. Really?
I mean, it went through the soundproof door we've got here. It was so loud.
Are we going to have a sneeze off?
I don't know. I mean, Nick's pretty good.
He is.
But that one was quite loud. It startled both of us. But this is actually a big day because at 8 a.m. this morning, we have two exciting announcements.
For God's sake.
Shortly after 8.
All right, I'm only aware of one. We'll work on this off air. I'm only aware of one announcement where we're supposed to make at 8 a.m. Cubby says there's two.
Which, by the way, so one of them we were supposed to announce last week, but something came up.
Yeah.
They had to change something around. So I didn't realize this was a wait to announce type of thing. So I've been telling anybody who's asked. So anyways, I guess that's something I shouldn't have been doing.
You've been giving away the secret before you were supposed to?
I didn't know it was a secret. I was trying to help people out. Yeah, but then they said, no, you can't say anything until after 8 a.m. this morning. So.
All right, 2 big statements we have to make at 8. And we'll go ahead and do that. We will. I don't know what kind of setup the rest of you folks have to deal with. I'm speaking to our listening audience. I don't know what you have to deal with, but around here, our company turns the screws on us once a year and makes every last one of us take a physical exam at a doctor's office. It's an insurance thing, right, Cubby?
Yeah, so our insurance could drop us if there's anything dangerous going on so they don't have to pay out. That's the goal. It's not really to keep you healthy.
Okay, it's an insurance thing. They want to know whether or not they want to keep us or drop us.
Or raise our prices or something.
Or raise our prices on our insurance, our health insurance. Dana, not looking good for you. You don't sound good, and you haven't even taken your physical yet.
No, I have to go do that today after the show. Like Wapple said, they might just keep me there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's always my greatest fear, is that they're going to keep me anytime I visit a doctor's office. So once a year, I don't know how it is for the rest of you. I don't know if this is normal or not, but once a year we got to go get this friggin' physical. It's got to be done by a certain date. They're adamant about it.
Well, what's funny is I had mentioned earlier today, or earlier this week, excuse me, I'm like, yeah, I got to get my... They kept canceling my physical, and I said, I'm a little worried because we have to get it done by September 1st, so I've got mine Friday after the fair. And all you guys were like, what? Get it done? And everyone's scrambling. I mean, I think you're going through 2 different time zones today, Dana.
I have to drive to Farmington. That was the closest they could get me in.
Everyone's panicked, like, oh, my God, we got to get this thing done.
Josh, the one responsible member of the show, mentions on Friday, like, oh, yeah, I assume you probably guys have had yours, but I'm getting my physical. We're like, oh, my God, that's right.
The only time that I ever am aware that we are due to perform some act for the company. The only time I'm ever aware of these deadlines is when Josh complains about it. And then we have to do what? So I had mine yesterday. And as you can clearly see, they did let me go. Like I said a minute ago, my fear is always that they might have to keep me. But I found something out at my physical exam yesterday. I did, something I was unaware of. I am a man made mostly of cholesterol.
Oh, yeah? The good kind or the bad kind? Do you know?
I did not know there was one or the other.
Yeah, so I know my good cholesterol is a little high, or at least it was a couple years ago. I haven't really followed along too much. But so there's 2 different types, right? There's one that's a little more concerning and then one that's a little less concerning, but obviously you want to stay within the ranges of both.
Well, you know my diet. Which one do you think it is? You know what I mean?
Well, you're getting a lot healthier.
Well, I don't drink as much as I used to, but my diet is still that.
You've changed your diet a little bit here and there.
Oh, I don't know about that. My diet is still
You've changed like the beverages you drink, and you lost a bunch of weight from that. So
okay, I cut Gatorade out of my life. I should say I cut fully leaded Gatorade out of my life.
You're on an unleaded plan now.
I'm a Gatorade Zero guy now, and you're right. Because of that, I dumped a bunch of weight. It was really,
which is you lost like 20-some pounds. Right?
It was quite miraculous, really, how easily, at least I, could dump a bunch of weight just by cutting that one vice out of my life. I mean, I would just inhale Gatorade during the day and inhale canned beer during the evening. I took away the sugar from the Gatorade, starting to dummy down my beer numbers, no question, in the last 3 years. And yeah, I dropped some weight. But I found out yesterday that I am made of some bone, a little bit of skin, a little bit of hair, teeth, everything else, cholesterol.
So did your doctor tell you got to do this or that? Or not to the point, obviously, where you have to get on medication. You'd know that, right?
The doctor didn't give me a chance. That doesn't make any sense. The doctor didn't have a chance to chew me out about it because it was one of these deals where they take your blood, and then my friggin' wife, and I better not talk too much about her because of my blood pressure problems. My friggin' wife then looks up the results on the internet. Have you heard of that kind of thing?
Yep.
Okay, so they took my blood and said goodbye, and then the friggin' wife knows how to look up the results on the internet, and when she saw my cholesterol numbers, she thought that maybe I had minutes to live.
Oh, really? So I'm wondering if you're going to have to be a candidate for medication then.
I don't know. But I'll tell you what. We talked about this a little bit off air yesterday because we're all due for our physical exam. I think, Josh, you said it yesterday. It goes one way or the other. Sometimes when you take a physical exam, the doctor looks you up and down, listens to your heart for 2 seconds, asks you if you're a serial killer. You say yes or no, and then they kick your ass out the building. Or they grill you.
Yeah.
I got grilled yesterday.
Oh, no.
Was it a newer doctor?
I'd never seen her before in my life.
Okay, the reason I ask is because the doctor I had for a very long time, it was one of those where I'd show up and she'd say, "Didn't I just see you last year?" I'm like, "Yeah, same type of thing, insurance, physical." She's like, "Cool, how's it going?" I'm like, "Good." She's like, "Like you said, all right, we'll check your pulse. Everything else good? Yep. All right, get out of here." But I've also had like a newer doctor who, actually, this guy was great, and I wish I could still go to him, but he ended up moving out of town. But he was the thoroughness you're talking about.
New as in brand new to the business?
Yeah, he was just out of his residency. And I think it was like his first or second year.
No, this gal was around my age, so she's been in the business for a long time. And don't get me wrong, she was not an unpleasant person to talk to. She was a very nice gal and a very pleasant person to talk to. But, lots of questions about drinking, drugs, lifestyle, exercise, sex.
Really?
What else? We talked about my balls for a while.
Did you?
So it was.
Did she bring up any of these topics, or this is kind of stuff you want to talk about?
This is all stuff I told her from the get-go. Yeah. Look, these are the subjects I want to cover. Yeah.
Here's a list.
Hey, you want to see some balls? Take a look at these.
There was no fingering or
you're lucky.
Twisting or coughing.
Really? That's good.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why in a minute, because I was expecting it. And when we started from scratch, because she had never seen me before, I had to go to a joint outside my regular doctor's office to get this exam done. It's some confusing coverage thing, you guys sort of know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I had to go outside. So I went to an office that I had never been to before and saw a doctor that I had never seen before in my life. She started from friggin' birth.
Wow. And
we covered every damn thing, everything that's ever been wrong with me. Like I said, my family history, So the reason why this was new to me, I expected within seconds I'd have my pants and underwears around my ankles and my nuts in her hand, because from the get-go, she was showing signs that this was going to be thorough. So I thought maybe I would get fingered. I would have the, what is that, a hernia test when they get a hold of your bag?
Yep. Right.
But instead of, I didn't have to be fingered because I'd recently gotten a colonoscopy, which you've heard us talk about up and down in this program. She said, "Have you had one of those colonoscopies?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay, then you're probably..." But we didn't do the hernia test because she just simply asked me, "Do you check yourself down there, like, say, when you're in the shower? Do you check your testicles for lumps?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I actually do. I actually do."
Do you really?
Yeah, every once in a while.
Were you told to do this, or?
Well, because of a story you told me.
About my buddy?
Yes.
Yeah. His wife found it.
Yes, during oral sex.
I'm not really sure what... I can't remember what he said they were doing, but it was during some sort of sexual activity.
Why else would a gal have a dude's bag in her?
And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, she doesn't ignore him. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about her. I never even thought of her that way.
You told this story years ago that, your wife's buddy was handling his gear.
My buddy's wife.
What did I say?
What you said, my wife's buddy.
Your buddy's wife was handling his gear and said, "Hey, what's this little thing down here?" And he found out he had testicular cancer, correct?
Yeah.
So ever since you told that story, yeah, I give them a squeeze down now and again.
I never do. And I know that I never even thought to.
So here's the thing. This is what my doctor for yesterday told me. She said, we don't necessarily have to do the gimmick where I rest your bag in my hand, as long as you check them. So she said, have you been checking them? And I said, yeah, now and again. This is at least her opinion. Every dude, when you're taking a shower or whatever, standing in the house naked, looking out the picture window for the neighbors, just once a month. Can you remember this now, dudes? Once a month, give your testes a squeeze down, and what you're looking for is something that feels kind of like a BB.
So you know what to look for. Like
as of yesterday, she said she told me these things, and now I know what to feel for.
You'd recognize it now if you found it.
Look, a little BB.
You take a look real quick.
But it was a poke.
What's that?
I was there for a good hour.
Holy cow, you got your money's worth.
Maybe more.
Wow.
Yeah, we talked about everything.
So she actually asked you questions about sex?
Yes.
Because they send out, at least the doctor office I go to, they'll send out a thing a couple days before and say, hey, fill this out, otherwise we're going to be pissed at you when you show up.
Oh, yeah.
I've been shamed where I didn't get the email. They're like, oh, okay, you didn't want to fill that out. I guess waste our time and fill it out here. And they're like, hey, how many days a week do you want to just drive off a cliff?
Oh.
Or they'll say, are you sexually active, and what kind of sex are you having, and that kind of stuff.
Is it safe sex and that kind of thing too?
I've never had a doctor ask me in person about it. They just kind of look it over.
Yeah, they're all different. Like you said, I've had those, and I'm putting this in quotes, physical exam. I've had a couple of those, quote, physical exams, unquote, where the doctor said, can you breathe? Yeah. Are you nuts? No. Goodbye.
Maybe she didn't cover this, but somebody wants to know, what do I do if my left testicle is bigger than my other two?
Make a phone call.
Yeah.
Get on the friggin' telephone.
Yeah, the third one is normal size. The other two, they're odd sized and shaped.
But I am just a big, dangerous cholesterolosaurus.
Did you fast? Scaffolding
Yes.
Jesus? You did? Okay.
Yes.
I always forget to do that.
Yeah, I hadn't had jack squat to eat.
Okay. And they gave you a heads up on that?
No,
Oh,
I just got lucky.
It happened to be that way.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I don't ever eat here in the morning. So it just happened to be that I hadn't eaten anything in, 14 hours or something like that, from, what day is it today? Thursday. So from Tuesday night to when I went and saw the doctor yesterday morning, I hadn't had anything to eat. So they said, well, then we're going to pull some blood out of you and find out how long you've got.
Rumple Foreskin Jesus said, did she mention anything about what if your testicle is already BB sized?
So, it was a process, a lot of jaw jacking, but the fact that I walked out of there without taking a digit or having my nuts choked out, I'm going to call it a win. And I'll tell you what, when they told me to get down to my drawers and put that hospital gown on, I had to laugh because they pointed out a little shelf. Hey, there's some gowns in there. Once you get down to your drawers, put the gown on, and then the doctor will come in to see you. And when I opened up that drawer, by God, those hospital gowns have been in rotation since, I'm going to guess, after looking at it and putting it on. That gown's been in rotation since they were giving boys physicals to go into World War II.
A little worn out.
You just look like a complete jackass in those damn things. And this one was built for a guy about 10 times my size. There's the old, come on, give me.
I hate putting those things on.
There's so much. We spend so much money, right, at the doctor's office. Can't you use some of that money to go get us some gowns that our great-grandfathers didn't wear?
And why do they have to be so open? I mean, like your chest is exposed, your penis is exposed. It's embarrassing. Am I wearing them backwards?
You're putting it on.
I think so.
I'm wearing them backwards.
Yeah, you're wearing it like a robe.
Stupid son of a bitch, you.
I'm so in trouble. You guys are all like, no, we didn't get the finger. I'm going to get it, aren't I?
Why?
I always
you
get
just had a damn colonoscopy.
Well, I think it's different, right? This time they're checking your prostate with the finger.
Oh.
Not your colon.
Oh, I was completely wrong about that. Okay.
I've never gotten the finger.
You never have?
No.
I don't think
surprised.
I have either.
You haven't?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
Well, no, I never did either up until... Did we cover this on or off air yesterday?
Off air.
Yeah. Josh, you were molested. You were.
You know, my dad, he kind of mentioned the same thing. I was checked when I was a teenager.
See, that's not right. And I know we've covered this before. I never had anyone do anything to me back there until, professionally, until I had my colonoscopy. But Josh, for whatever reason, every time you went to the doctor as a 9th grader, you had hands going in places that shouldn't have gone.
I've had it dozens of times.
You have
a
massive lawsuit if you want to go that route.
Maybe everyone just wants to check it.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I have an adorable beehole.
Yeah, here's the beehole guy. Finally, I get to check him.
Yeah, I want to penetrate that guy right there.
So you guys have fun at your physicals. I had fun at mine.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. Well, not Ashley. She probably doesn't want to know, but I'll let the gentleman know if I have to get because this is a new doctor to me. So,
right.
Could you just FaceTime us while you're getting it done and we can coach you through it a little bit?
If you're willing to answer the FaceTime, absolutely.
I'll tell you something cool about my doctor from yesterday. She was a cool gal. So, you know, on your bio or whatever it's called, you know, they know everything about you. And we talked about damn near everything. They know what you do for a living. Things like that, what medications you take. That's, I guess, part of their job, knowing every damn thing about you so they can help you out when you need help. So she sees that my job title is broadcaster. So she asks about that. And before I got out of there yesterday, she said, I got to tell you. And I'm glad she said this I'm glad she said this after the exam was over. Although I thought it was cool information. I thought it was a cool little something or another to know about my doctor. I'm glad she told me this after the examination was over. She said, I got to tell you, you're a radio? I said, yeah. My very first concert, she said, 1996. I went off to see Godsmack.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And I said to myself, what I said to her face was, oh, cool. But what I said to myself was, I don't know if I'm so sure leaving my life in the hands of Godsmack fans, you know?
And she was kind of old when she went to her first concert then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too.
Man. Maybe she's just not a huge music fan.
Well, my sister's 36 right now, and I think she's only been to one concert in her life.
What was the show? Godsmack?
No, it was like a state fair show. I can't even remember. But, yeah, she just doesn't go to concerts.
Nobody cares to hear about your sister's life, Wapple.
Okay.
People do text in about your sisters, so I'm going to have to respectfully disagree on that. Ashley, did you already get yours?
No, I get mine today.
You've never had
I'm sorry, I have to go back to that. Josh says, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with that.
That's the only way I disagree with people is respectfully.
That was good.
You've never had your prostate checked, Ashley?
Nope, never.
Why? Maybe your insurance isn't as good as ours.
Yeah, it doesn't cover it.
Oh, wow. All right, you bastards. What else am I going on? What am I talking about? Anyone else got something? What, 2 announcements at 8 a.m.?
2, yeah. 2 announcements.
That's stupid.
It's a big morning.
I didn't even know, there's very little communication in this business, which some people have dubbed the communication business, right? or industry. And there's very, very little.
Communication industry.
But it's even worse now because, our staff of at one time was dozens in the promotions department. Now it's like 2 people. I'm sure they're just overwhelmed. And maybe this thing just came up last night, but were you guys aware of our second announcement?
No, nope. I still don't know what it is.
You got a little sheet in front of you.
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea.
A sheet in front of me? I don't have a sheet.
I printed you the sheet. It's got the stuff, and then the other
I have
thing
nothing, but we'll work. Like I said, we can work on this. So we have 2.
2 announcements.
All right. Well, we can handle that.
One I can see you snickering at.
Big time for sure.
Quite heavily.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fun for me.
Yeah, it'll be one that you're even maybe off air going to say, let's not even announce that. You want us to.
Can I guess it?
Go ahead.
Is it a second Motley Crue concert?
It may or may not involve Motley Crue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 big announcements at 8 a.m. Dana, you better get healthy because I'm not standing under an enclosed tent with you at the state fair tomorrow if you're sick.
Completely understandable.
Not going to do it.
I mean, even if I wasn't sick, you wouldn't want to stand next to me under an enclosed tent.
Not directly next to you.
Uh-huh.
I like to have a buffer.
Well, yeah, I know it takes a little while to line up for any photo for the station because Nick always kicks Dana to the other side.
Right.
Well, the first thing he says is, couldn't he be the guy that holds the camera?
Right.
Why does he have to be with us in the picture?
Picture.
He knows how to take a picture.
What a great crowd we have out there this morning. I'm just like the rest of you. I can't wait to find out whatever's happening at 8 a.m. So we'll take a friggin' break. We'll come back in a couple minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show.
Tucker Carlson, what is it that you think that people gravitate
I'm not
towards?
self-aware. I refuse to be self-aware. I don't even look in mirrors at all, which you can probably tell from my appearance. I don't have a crazy high IQ, or I really don't have that many skills. I would say my main skill is I believe my instincts. I don't hesitate to follow my instincts, ever. To the extent that I have, I've gotten in trouble.
The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. For the second consecutive day, we're going to go ahead and lead off our stupid news report with information on a doctor who doesn't seem to be playing with a full deck of cards. A once trusted doctor who now is acting all squirrely. And this just all happens to coincide with all of us here on the Half-Assed Morning Show having to go off and get our company-required yearly physicals this week. We were just talking all about it. We're all having to go in and see a doctor by the end of the week, so I don't know, maybe this will make you a little extra nervous when you go in to see your practitioner. Is that the right word, Josh? I think I've heard that said out.
Practitioner? Yeah.
Yeah. So today's doctor that can no longer be trusted, he goes by the name of Giovanni Baula. I'm going to go with Baula. Giovanni Baula. He's a friggin' 59-year-old. And here's his story. He upped and sold his medical practice in 20 plus 22 to a fellow doctor, a 32-year-old named Dylan Dinesh. I don't know why Giovanni sold his practice, but he did. Now, it says here recently, Giovanni Baula has become upset with Dr. Dinesh for one reason or another. Maybe he doesn't like the guy personally, or doesn't like the way his practice is being run now. Who knows? But Mr. Baula chose a hell of a way to show his unhappiness. cops are saying that Paula went to Dinesh's office, which, of course, used to be his office. Paula stopped by there on July 30th and, quote, soaked the front doors in gallons of fluid which had the odor of urine.
Oh, I bet it was urine then.
They want to say piss, but they're not 100% sure. If it was a marketable product, Josh, they might call it, I can't believe it's not piss.
Yeah. You have a saying about urine, I thought.
It's a saying that my grandmother made famous decades ago. And you know, this is funny, Josh. I just had a conversation with a fella recently. I believe this went down when we visited the Minnesota State Fair last Friday. I had a conversation with a fella who called himself Piss Isn't Funny, Piss is Piss.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. That's cool.
He named himself after the famous quote my now dead grandmother made all those years ago. What a nice way to honor her memory.
That is awesome.
But yeah, that's the saying. So, dude went over to his old doctor's office, one that he sold to another doctor a few years ago, and soaked the front doors in gallons of fluid which had the odor of urine. Then just recently, a week or so ago, Mr. Paula allegedly returned to the joint and again unleashed another bucket of squeege all over the damn place.
How strict was this rule from your grandma about, it not being funny? Like, let's say one of us here sneezed and we urinated all over ourselves. I would find that comical. Do you think she would? I mean, are there exceptions? Or, she's a different generation. And maybe
absolutely.
Urine was looked at differently back then than it is today. I don't know.
I mean, she was having babies during the Depression.
Yeah.
She is from a different generation. Cubby, she took a pretty friggin' hard stance on that statement, on that belief that piss isn't funny, piss is piss.
Yeah.
Pretty hard stance. So I
would never disrespect that. It just, to me, I think there are some moments where it's quite comical. Achoo, and then your pants are full of urine. That's kind of funny.
She probably wouldn't have even thought that was funny. And that's her loss. In the end, that's her loss, because most of us would find that, yeah.
I was at a model home with a friend of mine who's a realtor, and he wanted to check it out for one of his clients, right? So we're looking at it, and I used the bathroom, and they're like, yeah, I guess you can use it. They had a sign saying don't use it, but it was kind of an emergency. So I went in there, I was using it, and I wasn't really paying too much attention, and I realized I have peed mostly on the wall right next to this toilet.
Oh, no.
And I was doing my best to, wipe it off, and it made it worse. I couldn't believe I did that as an adult. As an adult, I did that. That wasn't even that long ago. That's just a handful of years ago.
Were you just, looking at your phone and
No, I was there was a window right above the toilet, right? And there was, a wall right next to it, like a half wall. What do they call it? A pony wall or whatever. And so, I was looking out the window and just looking at the neighborhood, and I had to tell my friend, we got to get out of here. We got to go, right now before the salesperson walks in that bathroom.
You kind of just zoned out.
Yeah, I was going too far left. It was like bouncing off the seat or something like that.
Boy, it looks like a beautiful day outside, but it sounds like it's raining.
Yeah, my dead grandmother, who made the famous quote all those years ago, she was an interesting lady in a few different ways. She had trouble with the English language, and it rubbed off on my dad, and it's also rubbed off on me. I just can't get a grasp completely of the English language. I get lost, and one of the famous quotes from my dead grandmother was, we were talking about dogs one day, and she said, I never had a dog, but I would never misuse one. Now, what I think she meant to say was abuse one.
Or mistreat. Maybe she combined those words.
Yes, or mistreat, but instead she said misuse. And just to bust her chops, I said, well, how do you misuse a dog? Like on the Flintstones when they grab it by the tail and vacuum the floor with it? She didn't get the joke. I would never misuse one. All right, so back to this guy. He's dumping urine all over the doctor's office that he sold to another doctor. Hilariously, on both occasions where the guy swung by with a bucket of whiz, on both occasions, this Dr. Baula, or former Dr. Baula, and his vehicle were recorded by surveillance cameras. Both, they just 100% all on video. Car, him, license plate, everything. There's absolutely no getting away with this.
And it's not like his life sucks or anything. The guy's living in basically a $2 million mansion on the waterfront.
They said he was a very successful doctor.
So it's he's got a lot of stuff going on that's pretty sweet that many of us would be very happy with.
The guy must have
throw urine on people.
Yeah, he must have lost his marbles along the way. Maybe if you squeeze enough testicles over the years or you perform one too many pap smears, you come undone. I don't know. Being a doctor is a tough gig. Yesterday when I was at the doctor's office getting my physical, I'm walking down the hallway heading for the room that they wanted to place me in, right? And coming down the hall towards me is a brand new baby. I mean, brand new. It had all kinds of funk all over it and whatnot. And
they get funky.
They were racing it over to a scale or something. I almost had a collision in an office hallway with a baby that was 22 seconds old.
Dang, that's really cool.
It looked like it had been through hell.
Yeah, sometimes they can come out pretty gross looking, like a California raisin or your great-grandmother.
Here comes a brand new baby. All right.
My youngest was horrible looking, and he'll grow out of it someday. That's what my wife tells me.
Yeah,
he was a very ugly baby.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before. That must have been something. You got any pictures?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that was showing
one that I can look at right now?
Yeah.
Of when he was a brand new baby?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very exciting. I'd love to see this.
And my wife used to get furious with me because I'd say, when I first saw his face.
Oh, yeah, moms don't like to hear that stuff.
Oh, no, she understands now. Now she will admit, okay, he wasn't the best looking baby. Because, the other two, my stepkids, were adorable. They're beautiful babies. He just wasn't. The first words out of my mouth, and this is true, I said, uh-oh. He was that ugly.
I can't wait to see this picture.
Me and Josh were just talking about this, I think on Friday at the fair. I don't know why we were talking about it, but I was telling him about how my boyfriend's brother and the wife and the kid, when they had their baby, they told the nurses that they didn't want pictures of the newborn. They were like, no, would you? Look at that thing. Yeah, and I guess the nurses were just horrified. Like, who doesn't want pictures of their baby? And they're like, look at the baby. Because I guess it came out, it was squished in the womb or whatever, so it came out a little wonky.
Yeah, that's kind of what his was.
Actually, I do the womb squishing. That's what I do.
My God.
I'm the guy who's going to squish that womb. On a good night, right, Wapple?
Oh, yeah.
Let me see a picture of your horrible... My God, this is my godson?
Well, hold on.
Yes.
You eat this morning?
Did I eat this morning?
Yeah.
I haven't had anything to eat.
All right, that's good.
Oh, God, yeah, he's horrible looking.
Yeah, that's gross.
He looks like he's 1,000 years old and he's newly born.
Yeah, so my grandma at the time, she must have been maybe her early 80s, and she looks younger than he does in this picture.
Yeah, he looks terrible. No wonder you backpedaled and said, uh-oh.
I did, yeah, that was my first thought.
Yeah.
So, but then there was a little bit of, okay, calm down. This was IVF. Maybe it's somebody else's sperm.
Okay.
Maybe they messed it up
Right.
at the refrigerator.
Wrong
right?
batch.
Yeah, they got the one that said Abby Normal. Maybe that's whose sperm it was.
One of my best pals played a great prank at the hospital when his first child was born. He and his wife, they go racing in. The wife pumps out this baby, their first baby, and they just so happened to get hooked up with a nurse who was very emotional. I would bet that most nurses and doctors, they try to keep a cool, try to keep their composure, whether it's life or death, right? After a while, you get hardened to both the good and the bad. But this nurse that they hooked up with just happened to be the kind of person that cried when new babies were born. That's how she was wired. You all know people like that, right? Of
course.
Yeah. So, the baby falls out. They take the baby away to polish it up or do whatever they do. And my buddy and his wife are still in the little delivery room there. And, a handful of minutes go by, and the nurse walks back into their room with the polished up baby all wrapped in a blanket. And the baby will be, for the very first time, put into the arms of the parents. The gimmick. So as the nurse enters the room, she's bawling. Oh, God, this is so beautiful. Here he is, you're brand new. And my buddy's wife is going, ah! She's crying, too. My buddy keeps a completely straight face the entire time. Isn't it? And it says something about the guy that he's fully committed to this bit minutes before it happens. You know what I'm saying? He's worked this out in his brain. So the nurse comes in, she's crying. His wife is crying. The nurse places the baby into his wife's arms, and he looks at the nurse and says, "So are you the one I should talk to about a blood test?" And the nurse's face just completely changes from tears of joy to shock and disgust, and he says, "Just kidding." What kind of a cold-blooded bastard? His very first baby.
Josh, your son looks like he was 90 years old when he came out.
I know, it's gross.
He looks like he's pissed off.
He's
too.
the first. It's the first. I always was told babies are adorable, right? And he was not. I was disappointed. I thought I want my money back. Vertically Challenged Jesus sent a picture of what she calls her little nugget Mark. And he is adorable.
That's a cute baby right there.
You see him?
Yeah, I do.
Who are we talking about?
Vertically Challenged Jesus' son.
She has a baby?
Yeah, and so her
How did
son,
that happen?
Yeah, send us. I've got actually pictures. True story. I've got pictures of the conception on my phone too.
Do you?
If you're interested.
Of course I am. Okay, Vertically Challenged Jesus made a baby, and its name is Nugget Mark?
Mark. It's her little nugget, Mark.
Oh.
And yes, that is a very cute baby.
Cute baby.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's what a baby should look like.
Right. Not like Josh's.
No.
All right, what were we talking about? Piss? Yeah, we were.
Yeah, we were.
Bathroom lines at concerts can be long. Well, I guess I have more problems at ball games than I do concerts, but regardless, acting like this, this ain't right. A Rhode Island cop, he's not just your average schmuck. A Rhode Island cop got arrested at a place called Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts on Saturday for taking a leak on a random woman's cowboy boots at a Kenny Chesney concert.
I don't think anyone should be peeing on anybody.
I think that's pretty wild. I've been to a lot of concerts, and that I don't ever hear that.
It sounds disgusting and horrifying. And just the fact it's an officer, you would think they're there to protect you from people like that.
Everyone's sending in pictures now of their ugly children. Ever since we started talking about ugly children, Josh,
Yep.
Folks are texting in pictures of their ugly children. Appreciate it. We're at 651-989-9393. This is going to pick up my spirits for sure. Anyway, dude got arrested for taking a leak. He's at a big stadium watching a Ken Chesney concert, taking a leak on a random woman's cowboy boots. And he's a cop. This cop's name is Shane Lynch. He wasn't on duty at the time. He's just a Ken Chesney fan. You know, I wouldn't know a Kenny Chesney song to save my life, but I have seen the guy on television. He's this teeny tiny little fella.
Mm-hmm.
It would do him some good to grow a beard or something, because when you're that little and you put on a cowboy hat, You just end up looking like a second grader at a rodeo that just got pulled out of the crowd for the mutton busting competition.
True. I love that. There's always one kid backwards. That's the good comedy.
It's hilarious when he comes out facing backwards.
All right, so I've never seen Kenny Chesney. I'm looking at him right now, and he looks quite a bit older than he is. By the picture, I thought, wow, he must have been doing it for a while. But
he looks like a tiny hairless child that's been gifted a cowboy hat at a rodeo. All right, I keep going.
Oh, is this his? Okay, I've heard of this song. She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy.
Yep, that's Kenny.
Mm-hmm. Is that his biggest song?
That's one of his big hits, yeah.
What a nightmare. I keep getting us sidetracked. Wow, Bug-Eye Wagon Jesus sent in a picture of his newborn baby. That is a tough baby to look at.
Let me see.
Dude.
Oh,
no. Dude. Somebody overcooked that sucker right there.
It's like something out of the movie Aliens.
That's awesome, Bug-Eye Wagon Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you for the picture.
Okay.
Ooh-wee.
This is not... they must not have sent this for an ugly baby. If you did, you need your eyes checked. The last four is 5776. This baby could model. Can you guys see that one?
Oh boy, that's like a Gerber baby.
Yeah, isn't it?
That should be on a box of diapers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That should be like on if there's a GQ version for babies. That should be in there.
It almost looks photoshopped.
Yeah, that's too good looking. My goodness.
You guys want to talk more about piss at a Kenny Chesney concert?
Sure.
Yeah. I just got to find myself here and find where I was. So, it's a cop. He takes a whiz on a lady's cowboy boots at a concert. The cop and the lady were both standing, what they say here, in the pit by the stage, whatever that means. The cop and the lady were standing by each other when the woman felt warm liquid hit her leg. She turned smooth around and saw this cop, Shane, with his zipper down. He had a Steve Weiser in one hand and his flaccid penis in the other. Security described him as, quote, extremely intoxicated. They say he was swaying back and forth. His pants were wet. His eyes were almost closed.
Oh.
Unbelievable. So security pulled him aside to talk to him, giving him a chance. Let's talk to this guy, see if is he all there or what. While they were talking to him, he started peeing all over himself again.
Oh no.
Come on, man. Got arrested for disorderly conduct. His case was dismissed after he paid $100 in court costs or something. The woman he whizzed on said her $880, no, that's not accurate. The woman he whizzed on said her $180 boots smell like pee-pee and are no longer wearable. It's not clear if he has to buy her a new pair of stupid cowboy boots. I'm wondering now if Officer Piss Pants is going to lose his gig. You think he'll lose his gig?
Seems a little extreme, but...
Maybe desk duty for
You
a
never
couple
know.
days.
You know, we all know that, I don't know, I think we'd all agree that the worst drunk is the angry, violent, I want to fight drunk.
Yep.
But in second place, I think has got to be those folks who pee their pants.
Oh my gosh, I'd have to agree.
I've
Yeah.
never done that.
I've
Me
never
either.
Yeah, I've never met a pant peer from drinking.
Oh, God, I know.
man.
Oh, Jesus. My friends were just infamous for they'd wet themselves or they'd take a whiz in somebody's hat. It was just, nobody knew where to put their urine when we were young.
Have you guys ever gone to sleep drunk and peed your pants? Because
No.
when I tell people I haven't done that, they look at me very surprised.
No, I have never had a problem. You know the story. Once I was so drunk that I woke up in the middle of the night and physically was unable to get out of the bed and walk to the bathroom. I was so absolutely annihilated. All I was able to do was get up on my knees, open up the window in the bedroom, and pee out the window.
That's a good move.
My ex and her brother were notorious bedwetters when they were drinking.
And sleeping together?
No.
Oh.
It was it seemed like hereditary in the family.
Yeah.
It's weird because as a pretty much lifetime prolific pant wetter,
Yeah.
I've never done it while drunk. Maybe I just need to be drunk more.
Pant wetters are tough. I mean, to me, when we were young, it usually meant, okay, party's over. I just couldn't handle, hosting a house party and knowing that one of my buddies is, who's supposedly a fully grown adult, is walking around soaked in his own pee. He's still talking and walking. You know what I mean? That's just that's it. Party's over.
Go home.
Party's over. I'm not gonna. I had a buddy. One time at the bar, a lady fell off of her bar stool drunk, and she was a bigger lady. And there's only like 2-3 of us in the bar. It was like 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and this lady comes off her stool.
Wow, she was getting after it.
Just blown out, hammered, right? And me and these 2 other scrawny guys, we're going to be nice guys and pick her ass up. Well, what I didn't know is she had also wet her pants.
Oh, no.
And when I went to pick her up, I had to get a hold of her ass. I had to. And I put my hand in it. It just ruined the whole day.
Oh. You still helped, though. Good for you.
Well, what was I going to do?
One of my buddies, in his 20s, he had a big time, not peeing his pants or peeing the bed, but he would find the most inappropriate place possible to take a whiz when he was absolutely out of his mind drunk. His girlfriend at the time told a great story once. He got up from the middle of the night after they passed out, calmly walked over to his desk, opened up his brand new MacBook like as if he was lifting up a toilet seat, and then just proceeded to pee all over the thing.
Yeah, it's amazing what these drunks think they're seeing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he just calmly opened like he was lifting the toilet seat to just take a whiz.
Same concept, right? When you're flipping open a computer.
And she said he was just very confident in what he was doing, as if like this was a normal occurrence. 3 a.m, got to go pee on the brand new MacBook.
I peed in a closet. I mean, that's different than peeing yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite ever, and I could tell these stories for days because my friends were such terrible drunks, and a lot of them just, like I said, didn't know where to put their urine once they got hammered. The most original, the most unique that I ever saw was a guy that took very methodically, very calmly, went to his top drawer, pulled out all his T-shirts, put them on the floor. Went to his next drawer. Oh, there's all my pants. Put them on top of the T-shirts. Went to the bottom drawer, took all his shirts, put those on top of the T-shirt, dress shirts. Stacked up all of his clean clothes. And once he had stacked them up, he urinated all over them.
Yeah, that was
a beautiful
pretty much
thing.
My situation. We were on a work trip, and I got all my stuff in the closet. I was made fun of, like, we just got here. Why do you have to organize it? But that's just, just kind of how anal I am. And then I peed all over my clothes that I had just put in there so nicely earlier that day. I was sucked, she said, about a month ago. She woke up in the middle of the night with her husband having his shorts down, peeing on their bedroom door. He was asleep, had a conversation with her. She's yelling at him. And then he thought it was a dream the next morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we could do this for a long, long time. We could tell those stories. Okay, we got to get going here shortly. We are rolling through our stupid news report. I guess this is one way to let a coworker know that he's the most disliked sumbitch in the building. Or one way to find out that you are the most disliked worker in the building. 15 coworkers in Colorado. This is incredible in itself. They must work at this isn't like an office full of salesmen.
Yes, maybe they sell power bars or something.
Right. 15 coworkers in Colorado scaled a 14,000-foot mountain last Friday as part of a team building exercise.
Oh, my God.
These are not, I'm guessing these are not mechanics or certainly not radio personalities.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound ungrateful if your workplace is trying to do something nice, but doesn't that seem like that would suck more than be something you'd look forward to?
Yeah.
Like not so much a perk, but more of a...
I couldn't say no fast enough to an idea like that.
Like I said, I don't in any way mean to be disrespectful if they're trying to say, hey, this is kind of fun for company culture or whatever, but I don't think anybody in this building would want to do that.
No. And I'm okay being disrespectful. This is a stupid idea. Stupid.
It'd take a lot of time.
Whether it's a work team building exercise or you're doing it in your free time, scaling a 14,000-foot mountain is stupid. You're not a goat. You're a human being. So there they go, up the mountain. And one guy got left behind to effing die.
Yeah, you're either disliked or completely invisible to your coworkers.
The big fat ass mountain that they climbed is called Mount Shavano, if that matters at all to you. The summit is over 14,000 feet up into the air. Not every worker in the group climbed the whole thing. A few people hung back. So there were two groups. Except for one guy. He was on his damn own. He made it to the top fine, but got lost on his way down after everyone else is how you say it, after everyone else left and took all their gear with them. Oh, they must have hated this effing guy's guts. He's on his way down. No one waited on him. I'm just imagining maybe he ran his stupid yap the entire way up the mountain and his coworkers just decided, look, we're leaving this prick. Or if this had been long brewing. Now, along the way, on their way to the top of the mountain, these folks had been leaving things along the path to guide them back, like a trail of old breadcrumbs type of a gimmick, right? But they even took all of that stuff with them on the way down.
You know, and it's not that many people where it's easily to lose some. But 15 people that you work with, yeah. You know, or maybe there's even a buddy system at some point. But I suppose he's the odd man out.
Yep. They took all of the, little clues and whatnot that they left. They took that with them, too, so the poor bastard didn't have anything to guide him back down. That is cold. That is real hate. At one point, the dude texted his coworkers, more or less saying that he didn't know where he was at. This was at 11:30 in the morning. Now, it sounds like one or two of his coworkers did try to help him over text. So maybe a couple people didn't want him to die. But then a storm hit. Just like in the movies. This is beautiful. High winds, freezing rain. The most hated coworker ever, he got disoriented in the storm, which also cut off service to his cellular telephone. But his coworkers either didn't know or didn't care. No one told search and rescue that the guy might be in trouble until 9 p.m. Remember, It was 11:30 in the morning when he was texting saying, look, I don't know which end is up here. Can anyone? 9 o'clock they waited to tell we got a guy up there, Summers.
He's just hiding in a cave.
All right, I got to get this effing story out of the way here. There was talk of using drones to find him, but the drones couldn't make it that far up the mountain in the bad weather. He was in all black clothing, so he would have been impossible to spot anyway by the drones. Now, the friggin' guy made it. He spent the night up there. He got cell service back at 10 a.m., calls 911. They send some folks to find him. By the time they found him, he'd been on the mountain for over 24 hours, and he couldn't walk.
Oh, no.
Oh, I want to see him walking to work the next day.
Do you think the boss writes him up for being late? Where were you, dude?
How awkward would that be going in the next day?
They stretchered him out of there, got him to a hospital, and all the rescue folks said he was lucky his phone didn't die. If he wouldn't have been able to call 911 at 10 a.m. the next morning, they wouldn't have found him, and he would have been dead. That is awesome, and I would love to hear a follow-up on this, like you guys are discussing. What was it like the next time he went back to work? Because they just left him to die.
I'd be asking for a raise, I think.
I'd be looking for a new job.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever go back.
Yeah.
I think I'd be so embarrassed and realize, well, I guess I know how I'm thought of around here.
So, why'd you quit your last job?
Yeah.
Well, I was left on a mountain by my coworkers.
The search and rescue people said, look, you should never leave someone behind. But they did, and they even had a cute comment here. The search and rescue folks said, like we've just been discussing, it might cause some awkward encounters at the office in the coming days and weeks. That's incredible.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It's only fitting that Ohtani gets the very first golden bobblehead. And moments ago, the first dog ever to throw out a first pitch. Was pretty darn impressive, actually. Shohei goes behind home plate. And here comes Decoy with the first pitch. And it's a strike.
Straight down the pipe. What a pitch, Decoy.
This Shohei thing has gone too far.
He's beloved, that's for sure.
Sure is.
That's stupid. Shohei Ohtani's dog handles the first pitch at last night's Dodgers-Orioles game. Christ, even my half-squirrel dog can go get a ball and run it over to me. It's gone too far.
Those bobbleheads were going for like $500-600 on eBay last night.
Well, yeah, people were lining up like, a day ahead of time. It
Yep.
was crazy to get one of those.
That's insane.
All right, for the Twins, I suppose you might say this Atlanta series didn't work out so well.
No. Oh, boy.
It didn't work out so well for the Twins in this Atlanta series. They were swept. For Christ's sake. 5-1 was the final last night. I guess just try to forget about it. Because now you got the Toronto Blue Jays coming to town, starting up tomorrow night. They start a series. It really was. And the Braves have beat the Twins, 11 games in a row. It's been miserable. Hey, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Get some.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, heck yeah.
You know what that means when I say get some?
Well, it used to reference the Golden Gopher football team. So I don't know if that's where you're going with
That's
this.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Oh, man. Years ago when we used to talk about Golden Gopher football, there was one listener who always texted in, and all he would say, in all caps with exclamation marks or whatever you call them, was just get some.
Yeah. To this day, I always think about that person.
Me too.
Anytime you hear get some.
When's the first game at the stadium? It's tonight, isn't it?
Tonight's the night.
Not at the new stadium, just at the stadium.
Yep.
Golden Gopher football plays North Carolina tonight. First game of the season. I got a bunch of friends going to the game. You should have heard them last night arguing over who was going to have to drive. What a bunch of alcoholics.
I have some Gopher-themed overalls if anyone wants to wear them.
You have a set of those maroon and gold?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
The whole thing.
When did you get those?
I was gifted to me by one of my older kids there. So I got them. Maybe I'll wear them in tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't picture you wearing those.
Oh,
Please.
no, maybe I won't because we're going to the fair. I'll feel
Wear them to the fair. I thought you were going to forget about that.
Nope, not going to.
I didn't know this. I mean,
you guys can't trick me into it.
You have it. They're striped.
Yep, they're like the suspenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should.
I'll bring them in tomorrow.
You should model those for us or bring them in tomorrow. Yeah.
They make me look kind of fat.
Are you dialing in a reminder on your phone?
Yeah, I am.
They make you look fat?
They do. I can't wear them.
You don't look fat. You look just really frail and wimpy.
What would be worse,
Oh my God,
Josh?
thank you.
Yeah, you don't look fat. You just look like...
Thank you so much.
Yeah, kind of wimpy is the way I would... Oh, a buddy of mine's got a pair of those. He's just a massive hard-on for Golden Gopher football. And he's got to wear... He's like a friggin' Packer fan. He's got to display U of M stuff head to toe. He starts with, hang on to something, Ashley, Golden Gopher Crocs. Then he's got the suspenders that Josh was what do you call the overalls that you were just talking about? Under that, usually a Golden Gopher hoodie or T-shirt. But up on top of his dome is where it is the climax of the whole schmear.
Oh, is it a hat with the gopher ears?
No, everybody does that, Wapple. He has a felmet.
Oh, boy.
Sweet.
And he's had it for 25 years. It's just disgusting at this point. He's wiped his nose with it. He's puked on it. He's gotten pee on it. He's a big drinker. He gets hammered at all the... But he has a Golden Gopher hockey felmet on his big fat head for every game. And they were all arguing last night about who's going to drive, for Christ's sake.
Steelers fan Jesus tells me the Golden Gophers themed overalls I have are called Gopheralls.
Okay.
So I've got some Gopheralls.
Bring them in.
I will.
Bring them in with your little scrawny carcass hanging off. We probably got to cinch those suspenders all the way up. We got to go. We'll be back. Josh is going to do his news next.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
We're all juggling life, a career, and trying to build a little bit of wealth. The Brown Ambition podcast with host Mandy and Tiffany the Budgetnista can help.
Let's talk about the financials behind locks. It can be quite pricey, but as your hair locks, it needs way less product. When I had my fro, it was way more costly as it relates to products because my fro was thirsty.
No, it's very expensive. Yeah.
Yes. I need the whole bottle. So
what, a dime-sized portion of what?
Girl, the laughter.
Brown Ambition.
Wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
What happened to me should never happen to another educator.
A 50-year-old assistant principal in Texas may lose her eye after a middle school student threw a clothes hanger at her face, leaving her blind in one eye.
During lunch, I heard our behavioral teacher call on the radio to administrators for assistance. When I arrived, the teacher and students were outside the classroom. I entered where the student was still irate and found the room ransacked with overturned furniture.
Kendra Rogers was responding to a fight at Collins Intermediate School August 15th when the student threw several chairs at her, which she dodged, like out of the Matrix. But the airborne weaponized clothes hanger that followed hit her directly in the blink factory, knocked her right eye right out of the socket.
Oh,
no. The injury was so severe, paramedics had to airlift her to the hospital.
You're saying the eye fell out?
It fell out, yeah. Yee. Doctors told Rogers the blindness is likely permanent, and if they can't save her eye, it's going to have to be removed. The student was taken into police custody after that attack.
And then the eye fell out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why did the student throw a hanger at his or her teacher?
It's a he. He said, or she said that apparently he's got some disciplinary issues and maybe some mental issues. And went off, and they were saying like it was pretty incredible. She was dodging all these things at first, and then she just turned around, and here came the hanger and took out her eyeball.
I'll be dipped.
A Chicago woman says she's still shaken after her home and car were damaged following a confrontation with an Uber driver. Apparently, he was upset her son gave him a 1-star rating the day before. Started Friday when her 17-year-old son took an Uber to the local mall. He said the driver seemed upset, was driving recklessly, and ignored his suggestion to take the freeway, opting for surface streets instead.
I was just trying to make it to the mall. I was trying to get there within a certain time frame, and he had decided to take the longer way to the mall.
After the trip, the teen gave the driver a 1-star rating. The next day, a man the family didn't recognize knocked on their door because he wasn't happy about it.
It's like, I picked up someone from this house and they left something, and I knew that it wasn't something that was a belonging of anybody in this house.
When she refused to open the door, the man grew angrier and started shouting about the low rating.
Oh, no.
As he turned to leave, he grabbed a brick and threw it at her window, and then for good measure, hit her car as well. Uber responded to the incident, saying the described behavior is unacceptable, we're investigating, and will take the appropriate action. The woman filed a police report with her local department, and they've confirmed that case is under investigation.
That's not how you handle things.
Right. I mean, that's the rating system is there, and maybe you just see that and go, next time I'm not going to be cranky and I'm not going to swerve all over the road.
And then you rate him again after he destroys your house. All right, there's another one.
That's just not how you go about things as a grown person.
Yeah, you didn't think too far ahead. That's not going to put you in a better situation. Police in Pennsylvania say a Baltimore man tried to pull off the stealthiest prison break-in on record by wearing a ghillie suit, the kind of camouflage you'd expect to see in a hunting or military operation, not sneaking onto prison grounds.
Is that a movable tree in the prison or what?
I bet that was hilarious for the guards.
Trying to break in to it.
It's typically the other way around.
For why now?
The suspect, 36-year-old James Hampton Smith, he was arrested in the early hours of August 14th after prison staff spotted him crawling over a fence. So much for staying invisible. Why is that bush climbing over a fence? According to the affidavit, Trooper Nathan Wenzel said Hampton Smith was decked out in his camo suit, dragging along a black duffel bag. Apparently, the ghillie suit was Hampton Smith's attempt to outsmart prison staff and go undetected. But when police showed up, they discovered what was in his bag, a stash of contraband, including 19 THC vape cartridges, some suspected spice, a bag of THC paper, 121 mystery pills, and 120 unwrapped vape pens. On top of that, he had a collection of cell phones, cigarettes, phone chargers, and even a utility cutting tool.
Dude went for it.
His plan, according to police, was to deliver this to inmates inside the prison.
You know, you ought to get yourself a ghillie suit, Josh, for when you do yard work.
That would be awesome.
One of my oldest pals is an incredible dork. He'll pull a ghillie suit over his head at about 2 o'clock in the morning and then go lay in the weeds until sunup so he can get a photograph of a baby fox coming out of a hole or something like that. He's a massive dork, but I love him to death. And he takes some pretty incredible wildlife pictures in that stupid ghillie suit.
I would like to have something like that. I'd have to disguise mine as a couch, though. You know, my natural habitat.
Of course.
He'll paddle his carcass out to the middle of a lake at 3 a.m. like in a little duck boat or something, using a dildo or something as an oar as to not create any sound so he can get a picture of a newborn owl. He's just a...
That's so cool.
Oh, God.
He's using the vibrator as a trolling motor.
He uses his urine as an outboard motor to not distract the wildlife. That's what he does with his free time, Josh.
I'd like to see some of those photos.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
A visit to the Florida Keys took a turn for the worse for one out-of-state couple after a wild chain of events involving heavy drinking, a crash, and a scuffle with deputies, all in the guise of a job interview. 47-year-old Kimberly Robbins and 41-year-old Charles Lambert from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, were in Big Pine Key, Florida, Monday morning to meet with a potential employer for a job interview. But according to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, things went off course when they stopped at Coconut's Bar and Liquor Store. Robbins bought a bottle of Crown Royale, drank half of it in 5 minutes, and the two began arguing over her drinking. At some point, things got physical, with Lambert allegedly hitting Robbins. In response, Robbins jumped into their pickup, trying to get away, but instead crashed the truck into the side of the bar, and this was all before 7:30 a.m. According to the arrest report, Robbins spat on one of the deputies, then fell from her chair and grabbed onto his leg, refusing to let go. Now Robbins is facing multiple felony charges, along with 2 DUI misdemeanors.
Hanging on to someone's leg like a little kid that doesn't want to go to school or something?
Wouldn't let go. Yeah.
Is that Florida?
It happened in Florida. This is a couple from North Carolina.
Oh, you said Monroe County. But for whatever reason, see, Josh, I'm unlike the rest of your coworkers. I do listen very intently to your news report, not only because I find it very entertaining and interesting, but out of respect. It seems like you say Monroe County more than any other. That sounds like a real nightmare.
And Polk County.
Yep.
Yeah, Polk County.
Both those in Florida, they get some good stuff. While Kimberly Robbins' morning in the Keys unraveled into chaos, half a continent away in California, the night wasn't much calmer. Around 2 a.m., an out-of-control car driver crashed into a fire hydrant, decapitating the beloved Bob's Big Boy statue outside a well-known restaurant.
Oh, no.
Video from the scene shows the wreck knocked off a portion of the head of the iconic Bob's Big Boy statue outside the eatery. The driver was pinned inside the car for a while, but eventually extracted and taken to the hospital. Not clear what caused that single-car crash. A Tennessee woman accused of carjacking a man at gunpoint with the help of a 16-year-old sidekick made her debut in court Tuesday, and it didn't go well. 21-year-old Aisha Shell faces a laundry list of charges, including carjacking, aggravated robbery, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. But instead of showing a bit of remorse, she greeted the cameras with a classy one-finger salute before sparring with the judge. Judge Louis Montesi Jr. tried to keep things on track, telling her, "I want you to listen to me. We're taking this one step at a time." But Shell's head shaking suggested listening wasn't really her thing. The judge wasn't having it, warning her that this wasn't the right way to handle the situation, though by this point it was pretty clear Shell isn't big on handling things the right way. So she flipped the bird. As for her legal representation, she told the court a, quote, friend guy was trying to get her an attorney. Here's what the judge's annoyed response was.
Are you asking me to hold off appointing a lawyer for you until you can talk to your guy friends?
Yeah, he was not excited that he had to wait. She's facing several charges. Residents of Manchester, New Hampshire are reaching their breaking point thanks to a local 7-Eleven that's been serenading the neighborhood with nonstop opera music for weeks. While some might consider it a classy touch, the endless high notes are hitting a sour note for people trying to sleep. The idea was to deter loitering, but it's been keeping nearby residents awake, and it's become more than they can handle. That was a opera composer joke.
It was?
Yeah, George Frideric Handel. The idea was to deter loitering.
That was a deep reference.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the most famous opera composers. It wasn't that deep.
George Frideric Handel is the man's name.
Handel, yes.
And you incorporated it into the story. I apologize. I couldn't play along with that one.
That's all right. I figured maybe 2 people in the listening audience would get it.
Okay.
The rest would hope that my mic would have baroque. The town's mayor said his office...
Was that also an opera reference?
It was an opera.
Baroque?
Baroque. The town's mayor said his office is still doing background on the issue, but didn't provide much detail past that.
I walked into the store and spoke to an assistant manager. She told me that they would turn it down at night, but that has not happened. I did file several complaints with the Manchester police, probably between the hours of 1 and 3 in the morning, and they told me the first time that they would check it out, and then after that they did tell me that there was nothing they could do because it was store policy.
Those jokes would have killed in jazz band back in the day. A police spokesperson, however, confirmed that noise from the properties in Manchester is supposed to be kept at a reasonable level by 10 or so p.m.
I got that one.
But didn't elaborate further.
It's loud enough to where it's waking folks up.
Yeah, I guess the folks in the neighborhood are saying it's really, really loud. Well, downtown I've noticed that, or certain businesses late at night when they're trying to get rid of people, they blast some music.
I remember reading about a store in Minneapolis or St. Paul that's doing the same gimmick to keep the derelicts away. After hours, they play Blink 182 or some ungodly, some awful band.
It's another Seniors Day at the Minnesota State Fair with special deals on select food and merchandise for seniors. If you're an early riser, like many seniors are, you can check out the Mighty Midway's specials running until 1 p.m. Other highlights include the finals of the rooster crowing contest at 11 a.m. in the Poultry Building. Yesterday, 11 roosters went head-to-head in the prelims, and now the top crowers are competing for the title. They have 30 minutes to crow as many times as they can, with a panel of judges counting each one. Their owners pull out all the stops, dancing and acting silly to encourage their birds to crow. Then Motley Crue is taking the stage tonight with special guests White Reaper. I'm not familiar with White Reaper.
Me either.
They're pretty good.
Are they? Mm-hmm. I'd imagine an 80s rock style music.
No, it's more alternative rock.
Not too familiar. Amazon's expensive J.R.R. Tolkien adaptation of The Lord of the Rings is set to return to Prime Video this week, bringing fans back to the world of Middle-earth's Second Age. The Rings of Power Season 2 is set before the events of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy.
This is really good. If you guys haven't seen this yet, and
Boring. Never saw
Lord
it.
of the Rings or anything, I really enjoyed it.
You know, I watched the first season, thought it was okay. Yeah, you know.
It's never going to happen for me, actually.
I know.
The first 3 episodes premiere on Prime Video today, with new ones rolling out weekly leading up to the finale Thursday, October 10th.
That's the trolls who walk through the woods or whatever? That's
Yeah,
the
it's a long walk.
Okay.
Very long walk.
Fair enough. That's just was curious.
They were hobbits.
Pardon me now?
They were hobbits, not trolls.
The series, well, there were trolls involved.
Yeah,
so
he fought the
trolls.
trolls.
The series premiere of Chaos is now streaming on Netflix, a mythological dark comedy about the gods of Olympus set in the modern world, starring Jeff Goldblum as Zeus.
Oh.
Also on...
Is that a comedy?
Yes.
Okay, thankfully.
A mythological dark comedy.
Does it sound... Okay.
Also on Netflix, the series premiere of the Terminator Zero anime. In Japan, Malcolm Lee's been developing another AI system intended to compete with Skynet. Oh, and that was a mistake. He finds himself and his children pursued by an unknown robot assassin.
They're just not ready to let go of the Terminator yet, are they?
No.
Not quite.
No. This person didn't give me a name, but we wanted to say how sorry we were to hear their... they have to after 12 years, they got to put their dog down. His first dog, Kiki. So very sorry to hear that. Congratulations to Rockin' with Doc and Jesus, now 3 years sober as of today. Happy 32nd anniversary to On Liver number 2, Jesus. Shout out to Babe House Jesus in town from New Orleans, celebrating her 19th State Fair anniversary after falling in love with it many years ago. That is from Making Groceries While You Sleep Jesus, who said, P.S., yes, she is my ex-girlfriend, and yes, I'm hoping to get some. Happy 34th to Blue Collar FD Jesus, and that's 93X News.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X. Right now, text BULLETS, BULLETS, BULLETS to 651-989-9393 for a chance to win tickets to Megadeth and Mudvayne. This show will be taking place Tuesday, September 24th at the Armory. Prize provided by Live Nation. This keyword is good to date, August 29th until midnight.
Randy Shaver.
You're a creep. What are you doing? What happened to you?
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Go to left field. Margot back. Oh, he can't get it. Circle the bases, boys. Sean Murphy's coming home right behind Orlando Arcia. It's 5-1. 2 doubles for Luke Williams. In his first start since the end of July, he has come up big time.
Yeah, that was miserable. We'll get around to talking about that. The audio of the crowd, I think, is interesting. You hear everyone in the stands going, what the hell was that? If you watched last night's Twins game, you know what I'm talking about. All right. C. Willi Myles is here along with Randy Shaver. Hello, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Appreciate you coming on, C. Willi, on short notice. I know yesterday we got a hold of you. Brad Ryder, unavailable today. We had something special planned for Brad. He's unavailable today. So you were our backup, C. Willi Myles.
Hey, man, that's what I'm there. Put me in, Coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How you doing? How you doing, Randy Shaver?
Good.
Good. We were talking earlier. Big deal tonight, Randy Shaver. Golden Gopher football's first game of the regular season.
Yep.
Playing North Carolina. All right.
They are an underdog.
They're an underdog at home in game 1 against North Carolina.
And the over-under for wins for the season I keep seeing is 5.5, which seems low, but when you consider the new schedule and how difficult it will be once they get past the cupcakes, not tonight, but a couple of cupcakes in the preseason, 5.5 number may be right on. It could be a tough year for the Gophers.
Okay. Yeah, the new schedule. There's how many new teams in the Big Ten now as we stand today?
Well, I think they added 4, did they not, from the Pac-10? They
UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon?
Yep, I think they added 4.
Good Lord. And so how many of those clubs did they play this season? They play
I think they play UCLA out there in the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm. Right after USC.
Right after USC, yeah.
My goodness. It's a whole different world.
It is.
Starting tonight.
Look around college football. It is an entirely different world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not even close.
It's not the old days anymore. The Big Ten has 14 teams. Is that the correct number? Maybe more than that.
Yeah, I mean,
some in California. There's one in Maryland. There's one in. It's bizarre.
I was looking at the Atlantic Coast Conference, which is the old ACC, and it has expanded because of all of this movement. The University of California is in the ACC. That's how crazy it is. I mean, they're on the same schedule as Duke and Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, teams have just been scrambling trying to find places to play, regardless of travel, just because of all the shift in college football.
All right, so I think it's a 7 o'clock game tonight on Fox Sports. University of Golden Gopher football. Get some is the slogan. Their very first game of the season against University of North Carolina. And not that I'm not a Golden Gopher football fan, because I am. I'm not an NFL guy much anymore, but I still do love to watch Golden Gopher football. Not that I, want to disparage that club at all, but that right there, what we just discussed, time filler. That's what it was. That's what it was. Because I was waiting for a phone call to come in here to the friggin' program. And this is why we brought C. Willi Myles in.
Hello.
This is why we brought C. Willi in. I hope that both of you are ready, because we're gonna try to dive right into Who Dis.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Wait, hang on. I got another call. Who dis?
C. Willi Myles, you haven't played Who Dis yet, have you?
just at home in Alabama. we didn't say who it is. Hey, who is you?
Who is you?
Right.
That's how you said it growing
we
up.
said back when you kid. Who is you?
Okay. Who dis is how we say it, and this is how we operate with who dis. Right now on the telephone line waiting is a big-time somebody, an all-timer. And the way we play who dis goes this way. Randy Shaver and C. Willie Myles are the only two here in studio, Randy at home on the telephone, that do not know who dis is on the telephone line. They'll try and find out as quick as they can through yes or no questions for our special guest. And our special guest will only answer with yes or no. Hopefully before too long, Randy and C. Willie will be able to figure out who this is. Okay? Fair enough, C. Willie and Randy?
Sure.
That's it. Yeah, it works for me.
Let's pull up our guest on the telephone line and just have them simply say hello. Hello, special guest.
Hello.
Good morning.
Randy Shaver, would you like to do the honors and start off with
Sure.
the very first yes or no question for our guest?
Are you a current or former Minnesota Gopher football player?
No.
Not a former Golden Gopher. No, he says, C. Willie Myles. Randy, as I said, that was just time filler. There's no real connection. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it could be.
Well, in the past, we've always had
Yes.
connections to
Yes.
what was going on. So
Right.
that's why
Yeah, no, good question. Certainly a good question. C. Willie, what's your yes or no question for our special guest?
Are you an actor or comedian?
No.
Not an actor or a comic. You're thinking of yourself, C. Willie.
Yeah, that's you.
Let's narrow my choices down.
It would be effed up if the answer to who dis was you. That would be
To myself.
He's holding the phone up to his ear.
That'd be a mind F right there. Okay, not an actor or a comedian. Randy Shaver, it's your turn.
Are you a former Minnesota Viking football player?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Narrowing it down here.
Oh, man. Yeah, Randy Shaver, good one. C. Willie Myles.
Did you play defense?
Yes.
You guys.
This is John Randall.
Son of a...
Hey, correct. There you go.
Randy, I can't believe I set you up like that.
Yeah, you narrowed it down big time.
I did. That was my first
I'll tell you
guess.
what, I've talked to John enough. I recognize the voice was so familiar, and after the second one, I knew it was. I could tell it was John. So yeah,
We figured maybe it would be a quick process of who dis this morning because of Randy Shaver's familiarity with John Randall, all-time NFL great, calling our damn telephone line right now. This is an absolute thrill. Thank you, John Randall, for joining us and playing along this morning.
You're welcome.
Man, oh man, the memories that I have of you decimating the opposition's quarterback back in the day. You brought us a lot of excitement here, especially when you'd plant that Favre dude into the turf. Those were great times, John Randall.
Best of times.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us again. You know, my first question for John Randall would be, you know, you were an energy guy. At least that's how the announcers always like to describe you on the football field. He's an energy guy. He's got a motor. At 56 years old, John Randall, can you still get that motor humming now and again?
Every day on the golf course.
I was just going to say. What time is your tee time today?
So golf is where that energy goes now.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I pushed my tee time back to do this morning.
I feel you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Me too.
You guys golfing together?
No.
And I'll tell you another thing. This is why he's doing this on Thursday, because Fridays are Purple Fridays for John Randall. And if you follow him
Correct.
on X, every Friday John posts a picture. I don't know if it's a current picture or if he's got a whole stash of them. but he's always got purple on in some way, and you always find him at a golf course with a cigar.
Absolutely.
That is like John's signature picture on Fridays. I follow John. I laugh every time when I see his picture pop up on Purple Fridays with John Randall. So, very funny.
Thank you.
That's very cool. I'm not a social media guy, so I don't follow such things. But so you're still a passionate Viking fan.
Yes, I am.
Watch them every Sunday. I'm sure you probably sit there and have ideas of how the defense could be better. That kind of a thing. You critique what the fellas are doing out there.
Yes, I do. But you know what? I think they're in good hands. And KOC, as the head coach, I think they're headed in the right direction.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I mean, if you don't mind me picking out one particular moment from your career, and I don't expect you to remember this, but it's a story that I tell often on this program. Speaking of the energy that you had on the field, the motor that you had, and everyone knows you were one of the greatest trash talkers of all time, right? So the Vikings were playing at home against Green Bay. Brett Favre has to leave the game, and he's replaced by T.J. Rubley. Do you have memories specifically of this, John Randall?
No, I do not.
Okay. This was late 90s, 97, 98, something like that. Okay. So the fact that Favre has left the game, the crowd is losing their minds. They were so happy to see Favre get off the field. I don't remember if that's because he was specifically killing you guys that day or not. I think it was a competitive game. And here comes this backup quarterback named T.J. Rubley. And I always tell this story, and I'm not making it up. You were screaming across the line of scrimmage with so much ferocity at this T.J. Rubley that I could hear. I was at the game. I could hear your voice above 55,000 people.
Oh, my God.
It was just simply incredible. I mean, you must have come near to exhausting yourself sometimes when torturing other players with the trash talk.
I did sometimes, but I felt as if I was representing the Minnesota Vikings, I wanted to give 110% every time I played because I owed it to the fans who paid their hard-earned money to come watch us. So I intended on giving them everything that I had that day.
That was unbelievable.
John used to spend, and maybe you can explain a little bit more, how much time did you spend studying your opponent just to give some grief to a lineman or a quarterback across? Because you created this image of yourself of being such a disruptor on the field, but also you ran your mouth a lot to get into their heads. So how much time did you spend, like, studying up on who you were going to face on a Sunday?
I spent too much time because I knew too much about my opponents. So I probably spent too much time. I mean, I studied a lot of. I knew their wives' names, kids' names. I knew where they lived, some of their habits, and I would find the right moment to bring it up to make them feel uncomfortable. And for me, it was very helpful, and I didn't mind it. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to help my team win. So to do this, I thought it was a cool thing to do, and some guys just didn't really appreciate it.
Even wives and children's names were used.
The addresses, yeah. I mean, that's what we call that getting in their kitchen.
Oh yeah. That's why they say it was rated R. Football is rated R. So, hey.
True story.
Think how impressive that is, though. There wasn't like Wikipedia or social media. Anybody could do that now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine lining up under center and John Randall says to me, how's Louise doing? How the hell do you know who Louise is?
Heard your kid failed algebra.
Yeah.
So, John, I imagine that you got a little bit of help. Did, like, Bob Hagan or some of his guys give you the media guide from the other team, and you would take the media guide and go through the media guide and read about the players you were going to face. Is that how you did that?
Yes. Bob would give me the media guide. I would get the press clippings and stay at home and read up about my opponents, and just find out information about them. And, when you all of a sudden, there'd be some newspaper that would tell you where a guy's wife or kids or family was sitting at, and you bring that up to a guy and you point over at that section, man, it really threw them off to where they was confused. And I was a pretty good actor at the time, so I was acting, and I'm like, yes, I know her. She's one of my closest friends. Oh, she's over in section 102. Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
We got John Randall on the line here with the Half-Assed Morning Show as part of an edition of Who Dis. John Randall, all-time NFL great, all-time Viking great. John Randall's stories are legendary, and we're finding out, now why. Here's one that I always heard, John, and tell me if it's true or not. When you are one of the ultimate underdog stories. I'm sure you know that. And considering what you came from and being what NFL people would call undersized and all that, what you accomplished was truly unbelievable. When you first entered the league, the idea was that you were too small, you weren't heavy enough. Is it true that maybe when you were first trying to make your way onto the Vikings roster, that when they weighed you, you put a series of weights in your boxer shorts or something to make you heavier so the coaches would take you more seriously?
No, it was a one of those chains. So my roommate and I, we were rookies, and back when I think it was Bloomington or Eden Prairie, was called Southtown Mall or something.
Okay, that Bloomington maybe?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was in Bloomington.
Okay.
So we had some time to kill, so we went into a hardware store and were just looking around, and the guy was showing us all different items, and he showed us this chain, and I'm like, how much that thing weighs? And he goes, it weighs about 10 pounds. So my roommate, William Kursky, and I was sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, hey, William, we take this chain. I took a padlock, put it on there, and put it underneath my sweats. Man, that'll give me like 10 pounds. And he was like, let's try it. So two country boys got nothing to lose, and I put it underneath my sweats and hopped on the scale. I was 240. It gave me about 10 pounds, put me at about 250. And it was one of the ways that the defensive coordinator, Floyd Peters, had told me if I wasn't around 250, I wasn't going to be allowed on the team. And so I came back, and I had my 250, and that's how I got my chance to play in the National Football League.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Absolutely hilarious.
Well, you country when you ain't got nothing to do, so you're hanging out in a hardwood. hey, John, seriously. I mean, I'm from Alabama, man. I did the same thing up in St. Cloud. Hang out in a hardware. When you country, that's what you know. Shovels and,
pitchforks and things.
Man, that is a nice wrench. They got good stuff up here.
That's a riot.
Say you country without saying you country.
Mm-hmm. Hanging out front of a hardware store. Oh, man. So you push back your tee time. That means a lot to us, John Randall. I did not know you were a passionate golfer. You've golfed at Randy Shaver's charity events, have you not, John?
Yes, I have. I actually, my way of giving back, because I'm a kind of a consultant for the NFL, and one of the things I do is giving back to the players is attending golf tournaments for these guys who have worthy causes and that the league can't be a part of, but I can is play in their tournaments to show our appreciation for these guys, for their years of service, their blood, sweat, and tears. And on behalf of the NFL Legends community, I go out and I show my golf skills a little bit and just show my face and just show our appreciation to the guys.
That's great. One of the most amazing things that Josh and I ever saw in person was watching one of your former Viking teammates, Randall McDaniel, drive a golf ball.
Oh, my God. I don't think that's landed yet.
I believe, Josh and I both believe that it entered the atmosphere somehow, and right now it's circling Jupiter. It was,
it's in a separate dimension somewhere.
Are you a big hitter, John Randall?
I can be.
Yes.
But I like to focus on the little things. The chipping and putting to me is so essential to golf because if you can chip and putt, you can make up for you can lower your score by doing that better. It goes back to this golf book called The Little Red Book by Harvey Pennant, and which he focuses on chipping and putting because regardless of what golf course you play, not every hole is a par 5 or a par 4. You are going to use you're going to chip and you're going to putt. So that's what I focus in on.
So you've seen Randy Shaver's golf game. If you could use one word to describe that, what would it be?
You don't have to answer.
It's interesting.
The word is interesting.
Now that's very Minnesotan.
Interesting. It is.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I bet it is.
It's different.
It's different. Haven't seen that done before.
Oh, man.
Well, John, we're such fans. We're very proud of you. Watching you play for the Vikes was some of the best thrills I've ever had as a sports fan here growing up in Minnesota. You represented us well, and you still do. You're a wonderful guy, John Randall, and we appreciate you joining us this morning, and hopefully we run into each other again.
I hope so, too. Go! Thank you, John.
Skol, he says.
All right.
Thanks, John Randall. That was wonderful.
What a nice
I'm
guy.
a little starstruck. I was starstruck when I saw the animatronic version of John Randall at Shields in Eden Prairie.
I still stop and chat with him every once in a while when I go in there.
By the way, that is a great representation of him. I heard, I'm like, oh my God. I told my wife, I'm like, that's John Randall. I heard the voice.
So what do you mean? You walk by tell me what you're...
So it's like...
an animatronic...
The first time I went to Shields, wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed at you guys for not telling me about it sooner.
It's like a statue and it'll talk to you when you walk.
And it moves around, right? And so I heard his voice and I told my wife, I go, I swear to God, that's John Randall. And he's right around the corner. And I looked and it's this animatronic John Randall on a little stage. Kind of turn around and talk it. It's so cool.
What a hell of a guy
size.
he is.
It's a life size.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
And if you guys don't know his complete story, and I think Nick touched on it a little bit, John grew up in Texas with his mom and his brother. They lived in basically a one-room house with no indoor plumbing, no air conditioning. He grew up in complete poverty. And, you know, his story from high school football to the NFL Hall of Fame, I believe is on the NFL Network did a piece on John. And I don't recall the title of it, but it's an amazing story of his persistence and perseverance and just the sheer will to want to succeed, not just in football, but in life. He really, truly, he is an amazing story. And the fact that he stayed in Minnesota after he retired and is a big part of this community. And he's right. He goes out and plays at charity events all the time, not just mine, a ton of them. It is really a testament to who he is. He really is. He's one of my favorite people. He's very funny, but he's also so down to earth and just, I guess the best way to describe John is he's appreciative of life every day.
Absolutely.
For what he's become, because he came from nothing, absolute nothing, to where he is today. It's amazing.
I think that may have been the first time I've had a chance to talk to him, and I'm mad at you, Randy Shaver, for not telling me how wonderful he was beforehand. That was great. That was great.
Well, actually, people are saying, hey, are you guys on tomorrow? Usually you do a Who Dis on a Friday. The reason we didn't do it on a Friday is because of his golf schedule.
Yes.
He said, I can't do Fridays. He's always going to be golfing somewhere.
Watching him play in the mid-'90s, the animal that he was on the ball field. There's no way I would have guessed that he would have become a passionate golfer. I would have guessed he would have gone on to be an MMA champion or something like that. Because the guy was just a wad of muscle and energy and
he's like a next level golfer, though. I mean,
is he really?
When you say passionate, this dude almost golfs every day.
Okay, I forgot to.
And see, Willie, he's just self-taught too, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely,
he didn't play growing up.
Nope.
He did not. I mean,
I never got around to it. So, did you go? Have you golfed against John C. Willie?
I've never golfed. I've golfed it a lot. I see him at celebrity tournaments all the time, but I've never personally golfed with him. I've golfed with so many Vikings players. Like I golf with Leo Lewis and Ted Brown all the time.
Yeah, those are pals of yours,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all belong over to Minnesota Valley, but they are really super nice guys. But I've seen him, and I thought John Randall is, he plays at some very prestigious golf courses, man.
Okay.
And he's sharp as a tack on that. But I've never had the pleasure of golfing with him.
This is great.
I see him all the time.
Listeners are texting in, and sorry, in the midst of a conversation, we didn't get a chance to read some of the texts that were coming in when John Randall was on the show with us. I would have loved to have asked him about this. A listener says that back in the day, when John was young, he would practice his spin moves on his grandmother.
Wow. Is that right? That's
Just
funny.
Picturing that is hilarious. And my favorite, I did interact with John a little bit when he was a player, because at the time we had a program director here who thought we needed to be going into the Vikings locker room now and again and getting these stupid sound bites. The players weren't stupid. It was a stupid idea. They don't want it. Hey, this is Mitch Berger, and you're listening to the... I always hated doing that because they didn't care. I didn't care. But we had a program director who thought it would give us more credibility if the backup quarterback pretended like he listened to our show. You guys know the gimmick. You've been in radio.
Right.
So that's what we were doing now and again, and that's how I got to know some guys like Ed McDaniel. And anyway, I'm standing in the locker room waiting for my turn to talk to whoever, and John Randall comes blasting out of the locker room. I mean, the guy even had this motor, and I'm sorry if I'm coming off cliche. They're the only words I can come up with. He even had this energy in this motor after practice was over. He comes charging out of the locker room with just a little towel around his waist, and he says, "Who's coming to my place tonight to watch WCW Monday Nitro?"
I would have done anything to watch Nitro then.
And he starts imitating, I don't know, whoever was hot at the time, Scott Hall or something. And I fell in love with him right then and there. I thought that's hilarious. And a few of the players were afraid to say yes because he came out of he's just ripped with muscle. No, I'm not coming to your place tonight. You probably kill me. I mean, what a fun guy. And like I said, we're Minnesota Vikings fans, Minnesotans. We're so proud of what he's accomplished.
I was the first time I met him while I was shaking his hand, and it was I think it was Randall McDaniel that told me, he's like, sometimes like John will shake your hand, he'll hang on to it a little bit long, he'd make you uncomfortable.
That's how I am with hugs. See, Willie.
He did. He shook my hand, and I was looking right at him, and I thought, I'm like, I was trying to slap my hand out, but it's like your hands are in between two big old thick pork chops. You can't even get your own hand out. You just shook his hand. My hand just went soft inside of his hands.
Randy Shaver, you got a couple of cool friends.
Yeah, you do.
Well, thank you. I mean, John is pretty special.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt. Awesome. He's one of the great guys. And, he's the same guy, in all honesty. He's the same guy I met in the 90s when he played that he is today. He's not no different, hasn't changed. And really, he's a great representative. And it's the reason why he works for the NFL. One of the things he does for the NFL is he comes to the rookie, when they assemble all the rookies together at the beginning, after the draft.
Yeah.
And he speaks to them about your responsibility to the league, your responsibility to yourself, how to handle yourself, the do's and the don'ts of being a rookie in the NFL. And
no better guy than to dump that information on you. Yeah.
And to I guess the best way to say this is to understand and appreciate the opportunities that you have, because nobody took advantage of that opportunity. An undrafted, undersized football player from Texas State makes it to the NFL Hall of Fame.
And tears it up, yeah. Makes it to the NFL, tears it up, and next thing you know, he's a Hall of Famer. We got to wrap up this conversation real quick. We got some radio station business to handle, but how about we close it out with this, because I couldn't say it any better myself. No Hawk Welder Jesus texted in to say, I love John Randall. I've had the biggest smile on my face for the last 20 minutes. Thank you for that, he says. Well, thank you for listening. But that's we agree. We've all enjoyed the hell out of it. Hey, guess what? We've been invited back to Wisconsin.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was a little 50-50 there for a while.
We've been invited back to Wisconsin. Here's the deal. 93X and the Half-Assed Morning Show are heading back across the border, across the Cheddar Curtain, see Willie Myles.
Hello.
You can join us October 17th through the 19th at St. Croix Casino in Turtle Lake for our 3rd annual Brotherhood Border Bash. The bit is sponsored by Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies, Josh.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
So that's where the Southern guys hang out at the hardware store. Josh hangs out at Devani's friggin'.
Kind of lame that they have Zepp doing commercials and not me, but I do love Devani's. Absolutely. It's one of my favorites. The people there are awesome. I mean, they are really great. They listen to the show, so thank you guys.
Here's how it plays out. I think we roll into Wisco Thursday night. Hang out a little bit, got a live broadcast Friday morning, which is totally unnecessary, and you are not required to attend.
We actually recommend against it.
Mm-hmm. Sleep in. Treat yourself.
Couple of drinks, a bite to eat. Other than that, we just like to jaw jack and have some laughs. A live performance now by Jesse James Dupree.
Whoa. Dude, that's so cool.
That is cool.
That's so cool.
He has a new band. I don't know how new it is, but it's not Jackal. It's called Breathing Fire. Packages are on sale right now at 93x.com. Jesse James Dupree is one of the most fun characters I have ever met in the radio business.
Yeah, Didn't you say he's super nice, too?
He's very, very nice.
He's a regular guy.
He is, and I've always loved Jackal as a live band. They are a riot live band. I'm sure Jesse can bring the same fun to his new or not so new band, Breathing Fire.
Yeah,
that ought to be something in itself.
If you weren't a Jackal fan or not familiar with them, it's one of those bands where they're just fun to watch. Jesse James is so good on stage, such a nice guy. It's funny because just before we found out that Jesse James was going to be a part of it, Nick and I were saying what we need this time is just like a really cool act. You know, that's kind of what we could use, something that just a really fun show, and they got the perfect guy for it.
I wonder if he still will come out in just his long underwear. Jesse James used to take the stage wearing his union suit, the red long underwear with the hatch in the back. I don't know if he still pulls that. You had to be there. One of my favorite Jesse James Dupree gimmicks on stage is he says he's from the Deep South also. I think he's from Georgia. Jesse would say, "Are you in a hurry?" And the crowd would look around. What? Are you in a hurry? As if to say, are you going anywhere or you want to have a good time? I always like that about Jesse. Also.
And things have changed. Remember, I ran it. No, you're going to think I'm lying because I was at a gym, but I was at a gym and I ran into the band. And they're all like, it was so different, right? All of a sudden, that's when the band started kind of getting in there and getting swole and everything. They were all in like perfect shape, his entire band.
For a while there, Jackal looked like they were going to play a gig and then go to one of those bodybuilding competitions. Yeah. Also, Motley Crue on stage tonight at the Minnesota State Fair Grandstand. Here's the deal for you Motley Crue fans. We got a chance for you to win an autographed limited edition box set featuring exclusive vinyls and CDs. All you got to do is stop by our little merch tent broadcast booth at the State Fair, pick up the keyword to text in and win. So if you're going out to the show tonight at the grandstand, stop by our booth, talk to one of the ninth graders we've got working there behind the counter, get that keyword to text in and win that box set. It's Motley Crue tonight, see Willie Myles at the grandstand.
Yeah, I'm going to pass.
That is another thing we recommend.
Not a bad one.
Is the weather going to allow that to happen tonight, I wonder?
I was wondering that about the Gophers football game, too, because all the rain and thunderstorms.
Get some!
Get some!
We're not afraid of a thunderstorm. at Huntington Bank Stadium because we're there to get some.
Get some rain gear.
Oh, man. All right. I guess we can stick with the football vibe here for a while since we were talking to Hall of Famer John Randall. A friendship that I'm about to steal away from Randy Shaver. That's what I'm going to do. The New York Jets signed that Lewis Seen dude that we were talking about yesterday, former Viking first-rounder, if that matters to you at all. He's signing with the practice squad with the expectation that he will be elevated when he's up to speed with the Jets' defense. Does it take much to get up to speed with the Jets' defense?
Actually, the Jets' defense is really good.
Okay.
So
I don't follow such things.
I don't anticipate this guy making any sort of impact whatsoever.
Okay.
I mean, I think the ship has sailed on this guy.
Well, that's not good to hear. If you're Lewis Seen, no, how different?
Not encouraging.
How things can change so quickly. Speaking of NFL players being signed and probably going to have to start with the practice squad, Dalvin Cook a few years ago, that dude looked like he could be the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
The game has changed. It's more of a pass.
He came off of a good year too, and then you just saw the Vikings basically say that they are not going to be the same kind of a running team as they were in the past.
So
and it's not just them. It's
right.
It's virtually every team this year but the Chargers. They'll probably be the only team that will run the football more than any other team just because Harbaugh's there. Mm-hmm. And he loves to run the football.
Loves to run the... Yeah, it's just because the game has changed and because... I mean, but is that the sole reason why Dalvin Cook has taken a...
Well, I think there was a money issue.
Did he hurt himself or has he lost a step? What?
Because he's just on the practice squad.
I think all of the above, but... what is he, 27, you said? 29?
I didn't say.
29.
Is he really?
Well, 29 in running back years is actually, that's up there.
That's pretty old.
I wasn't aware of that. I didn't think he was that old. It seems like just yesterday he was playing for Florida State. But it's just kind of interesting how suddenly running backs are these forgotten type characters.
Unless you can catch the ball out of the backfield, the chances are that, they'll use you on the goal line. So for fantasy football purposes, people still love them. But in between the 10s, you're going to see teams throw way more than you are going to see them run the ball.
Fair enough. Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis. Mm-hmm. He was telling a story the other day. He got pranked during the NFL draft. When did he go in? A couple years ago he was drafted?
Yeah.
Okay. This was how it all played out. He was one of those guys that waited a little longer than he thought he was going to have to. He waited a little longer than he expected to be drafted. So he's sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. This player goes, that player goes. Well, son of a bitch, when am I going to draft? All the experts said I was going to be drafted. And apparently someone, and he still hasn't figured out who, called his cell phone while he's sitting and waiting to be drafted. And he gets all excited. He picks up the phone. There's just some kid on the other end of the line laughing.
I think at pick 29, get a phone call from somebody. It was a prank call from somebody.
You got a prank call?
Yeah.
Was it somebody you knew?
Random number.
Oh, my God.
I still have the number saved. I'll find him someday.
He's going to find him someday, he said.
And do what, Levi? Literally, do what?
He and his Levi's ain't going to do jack squat. That's what they're going to do.
You can do.
That's funny. I wonder who the hell that was that called him.
Just laughed and hung up.
I would do that to a buddy of mine if he was getting drafted.
That was his quarterback coach from Kentucky.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'll find him someday, he says. Oh, God, you know what just came to mind now? One of the greatest pranks I ever heard of from the sports world. And we've told many stories about pranksters. Burt Blyleven, who else was like a notorious prankster?
Bud Grant.
Bud Grant liked to pull pranks?
He did?
Yes, all the time.
Really?
Give us an example. I don't remember.
Bud Grant used to, like on April Fool's Day at Vikings headquarters in Eden Prairie, he would hide stuff in people's desks and, like fake mice or whatever. I mean, he was always playing pranks on people.
Just funny. Just to get someone to jump right out of their shoes. There's a mouse in my desk or a snake.
I mean, you wouldn't expect Bud to be like that, but that's who he was, especially in the office area. If you ask Bob Hagan and guys like that were around Bud, during that time, they would tell you some stories about how Bud would love to play pranks on people.
This is what came to mind. You know who was a notorious prankster? Now we're going to go back to wrestling real quick. Owen Hart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Owen Hart, who passed away. That's not even that's not the right way to put it. That makes it sound like he was surrounded by family in a bed or something. He died tragically, falling from the ceiling of the arena down into the ring. If you don't know the story, look it up. It was one of the worst things. It's maybe the worst thing that's ever happened connected to television wrestling was the death of Owen Hart.
And it was a live pay-per-view, too.
Yes, it was.
I was watching.
What?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't show it.
They didn't show it. They cut away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember watching. I didn't watch it live, Dana, but I saw some kind of replay, and they just cut the camera to the crowd, and the crowd looks confused. At any rate, when Owen Hart was alive, he was this incredible, very clever prankster, and he would just torture guys. And the best story I ever heard was at the time, there was a big blown-up wrestler on the WWF roster by the name of Ahmed Johnson. Does anyone remember Ahmed Johnson?
Big buff
Size
dude.
of a house.
Yes.
Massive dude. And Owen Hart decides to play this prank on him. Now, Ahmed was a big deal at the time. It didn't last long, but he was a big deal at the time, and I think he was headlining WrestleMania. And Owen Hart calls him in his hotel room, pretending to be a producer from The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And he says, Ahmed, WrestleMania is in a few days. You're headlining. How would you like to be a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno to talk about WrestleMania? And Ahmed Johnson believes every word of it and says, of course I would love to. He even goes out and spends like $7,000 on a new suit, a new pair of shoes, a new watch. It comes the day of the show, and they were all in California, the WWF. They're staying at a hotel. By the way, Owen Hart also, told Ahmed Johnson, a limousine will pick you up at around 4 o'clock. Johnson goes out front the hotel. He's waiting. It's 4, it's 4:15, it's 4:30, it's 4:45. He's still waiting for this limousine to pick him up to go to the Tonight Show. Owen Hart walks out and says, well, what are you still doing out here? And Ahmed Johnson says, well, I'm waiting for my... And Owen Hart says, well, I thought it was supposed to pick you up at 4 o'clock. And Ahmed Johnson says, yeah, it would... And then it dawns on Johnson that how would Owen Hart know that he was supposed to be picked up? And he says, gotcha. I just think that was so friggin' clever.
Man, that is cruel.
How the hell do you know that the limo was hey, wait a minute.
Oh, my God.
Dude thought he was minutes away from national television on The Tonight Show. All right. I said it earlier, Randy Shaver. I don't know. You might disagree with me. The series with Atlanta didn't work out so well for the Twins.
No, it did not.
Rocco! They were swept. I knew the magic of the 1991 World Series would come back and bite us all in the ass at one point or another. And this might be it.
Very disappointing. And, now they're sitting in third place. And hopefully they can make up some ground with Toronto coming in this weekend. Toronto's been pretty bad lately, but the Twins they're going to need to figure out their bullpen. They're going to need to see if these young guys can pitch better, the starters, and God dang, they need to get healthy. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Correa. Hasn't played since the All-Star break. Buxton's out of the lineup. This is exactly what we talked about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. That if this team is healthy, they've got a great chance. But if they're not healthy, and they've piecemealed this lineup over the last few weeks trying to figure out how to fill some of these spots, but that only lasts so long. And, are they still in the middle of it? Yeah, they're. If the playoffs were to start today, they would be the number 3 wild card team. Mm-hmm. They would be on the road to open the playoffs. They would not be playing at home. but they're still within striking range of Cleveland and actually Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's only a game back of the Guardians and playing great baseball right now. So,
yeah,
it's going to be a hell of a month. That's for sure. Every game is going to matter once we get into September, like it should be. But for the Twins and Kansas City and Cleveland in particular, because they're all three battling not just for the division, but to try to make it as a wild card. And Brad was right. Keep an eye on the Tigers. They've won like 6 in a row now. They're 2 games over 500, and they're only like 4 games back of the Twins.
Jim Leland's got them cooking now.
They're starting to play some great baseball. So,
I mean, they just haven't been sharp the last couple of weeks. Young guys or veteran guys. They really they haven't been sharp in the field. They haven't been running the bases. Yep. I mean, Manny Margot is a veteran, and he misplays that ball in left field late in the game. It should have been an out. It scored 2 runs for the Braves. So everyone's got to tighten things up.
And that bullpen has struggled. The bullpen has struggled. That was a tight game last night until, Festa deserved a better fate than what he pitched last night. And, Chris Sale got bailed out last night to get the win because it was tied 1-1, top of the 7th. He's still the pitcher of record when they score the 4 runs. But he pitched great, too. The Twins, they've just got to figure some things out here.
Forget everything that happened in the Atlanta series, because there's going to be a large contingency of proud, beer-bellied Canadians illegally crossing the border into America this weekend to see this series with the Blue Jays. They always bring a big crowd.
They do.
They love this. They come into town by tour bus, but not before they have the bus driver, usually a guy named Walt. First, they have Walt take a sledgehammer to the tour bus to make it look mean, and then they come into town and raise hell, so they better be ready for that. Pablo Lopez needs to save their asses tomorrow night.
And that's what a stopper should do. I mean, Bailey Ober's been that guy for him over the last 2 months. He's pitched lights out until he faced Atlanta the other night and just got bombed. Lopez has pitched a lot better, and he really, when you look at the 3 starters, Lopez, Ryan, and Ober, when the season started, I think we all looked at Lopez as probably the number 1 starter of those 3.
Oh, without a doubt.
He's pitching better now. Hopefully he can keep that up. He's not facing Sonny Gray like he did on that Saturday night and pitched incredibly, but they need him now. And what a stopper does is, when you're on a losing streak, you can rely on a guy in your rotation to stop the losing streak.
You heard it here first. Pablo Lopez pitches a no-hitter tomorrow night against the Blue Jays.
That'd be awesome.
No-hitter. I'm calling it.
Get some.
Yeah, it's time to get some. See Willie Myles. Hey, thanks, Randy Shaver.
You bet.
We'll talk to you tomorrow, and see Willie Myles will return with us when we come back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Did you know that Standard Heating opened its doors over 90 years ago? That's right. Tony Ferreira opened the doors in 1930, now ran by his granddaughter Claire Ferreira. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning today and experience the customer service and care that holds true today.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
We're all juggling life, a career, and trying to build a little bit of wealth. The Brown Ambition podcast with host Mandy and Tiffany the Budgetnista can help.
Let's talk about the financials behind locks. It can be quite pricey, but as your hair locks, it needs way less product. When I had my fro, it was way more costly as it relates to products because my fro was thirsty.
It's very expensive. Yeah.
Yes. I need the whole bottle. So.
What, a dime-sized portion of what?
Girl, the laughter.
Brown Ambition.
Wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
Due to some sexual content, parental discretion is advised.
On 93X.
All right, yeah, C. Willie Myles is in studio with us here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Get some.
Anything new with you, C. Willie Myles?
Hey, just came to get some.
Oh, you came to the right place, dude.
This is where to do that.
Hey, yeah, man, I'm getting ready to kick off my my fall tour, starting out at Crooners on the 14th.
Okay.
September. That's a couple of Saturdays from now, I think.
Okay, September
I said
14th.
I think because I really don't know.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
You're
good,
in the right
cool,
one. The
cool,
14th
cool.
definitely is a Saturday.
You got a couple weeks, and you've been doing this for years. I mean,
Yeah.
if someone has to give you a phone call a couple hours ahead of time, you'll be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really how it works. I mean, when you've been doing this in this industry for 29 years like I have, somebody always calls you. They know that you don't know where you're supposed to be. That's why you have people.
Let me ask you something, C. Willi Myles. Did you hear what Janel Klein said yesterday on our radio program?
She wasn't thinking.
Wait a minute. Was this the mowing?
Oh, boy.
Was this the mowing?
No, it was after
Not
that.
about the lawn mowing and the other yard
no,
waste.
no,
No,
it
not
was-
about leaves and other yard waste.
hilarious.
You like that when she was talking about other yard waste?
Yeah.
We
That
did
was
too.
fun. That was fun.
You didn't hear what she said after that? It was cold-blooded. It was cold-blooded.
Well, she was prompted to say something overrated.
I asked Janel Klein, I forget the exact context of the conversation, but I asked her, and I gave her time to think about it. I said, name a famous person or a band or an actor, someone who she felt was overrated. And I forgot she had a couple answers in there first. But then eventually, with time to think about it, she said, I generally don't find stand-up comics very funny.
What? What?
She bashed the industry.
Yeah. The whole industry.
And then when we brought your name up, the look on her face was priceless.
Oh, my God.
What have I done?
Did she backtrack?
I don't. I think
she said you were the exception.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We all agreed you're special to us. We find everything that you say funny. She didn't exactly backtrack, but like Josh said, her face changed. She thought, "Oh no, what have I done?"
Yep.
But that was, there's no way we could let you sit here any longer without filling you in on that information. And Janelle's probably going to be mad at me for bringing this up.
Obviously, I did not hear that. Otherwise, I would have called her and said, I'm sorry, what did you say? All of a sudden, I've been unfriending her on all social media.
Yes. Unfriend her sideways.
You guys are tight.
Right. She's been to my shows.
I think after that comment, I think maybe at Crooners, you've got to get her up on stage.
Absolutely. I got to make her apologize in person.
And maybe...
Matter of fact, Janelle, if you're listening, I need you to post that. I need you to post an apology to me.
Public apology.
A public, yeah.
Maybe give her an
Get your
opportunity.
people to write it out, a PR person to write it out and said, I meant no harm, if I hurt anybody's feelings,
Maybe she should get up and warm up the crowd and see how easy it is to do what you do.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. This is not murder. This is, that's, and good thing, though, because I always tell people all the time, I'm not really a comic. I'm an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two different things.
Right.
I kind of get what she's talking about.
And to take Janelle off the hook, right. I agreed with her.
Right. Comics are all comics are for everybody.
Right. And especially, okay, you can go ahead and call me. What's the hip thing that young people say? I'm an old man shouting at a cloud. Is that?
Yeah.
For me, older comics grab me right away. Younger comics do not.
Mm-hmm. You know what? We were talking about college football, how it changed. Well, comedy has changed. And I grew out of the comic stage to the entertainer stage where my audience is anywhere between 12 years old and 90. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you can't...
It's like Wapple's dating range.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like just jokes. I'm a storyteller, so people know, just like you've done here all morning, a good story lasts forever. A joke is only good for... the lifespan is on that stage.
I love a great storyteller comic.
Love good stories. And that's how I learned and moved forward away from... I never was a jokester. I can't remember one single joke.
Right.
But I can tell you a gazillion stories that I've heard.
So we just thought we'd throw that at you. Hopefully it doesn't completely shatter your friendship with Janel Klein.
Oh, it's damaged right now. I don't see a way back forward. But I'm going to keep the door open.
I think if you saw her face when she realized what she said, then you'd forgive her immediately.
Wapple, would you call her? Let's try to get her on the telephone.
yeah.
She does answer the telephone usually when one of us calls. Let's see if we can get Janelle on the line. to talk about this. I think the two of you need to talk it out.
That's right. I'm hurt right now.
I know there was, yeah.
Had I been sitting here, I don't think that would be the answer she would have given.
No,
because I would have been, you know what I mean? Because I'm right here in her face. And she would have known, like, no, I'm going to go with clowns.
Yeah, she hates clowns.
I do, too. I know that.
But it was certainly, it was easily the most negative thing I've ever heard out of her mouth. She's such a positive, wonderful. Wapple's over there on the phone. We'll see if we can get Janel in and see what she has
Wapple,
to say.
let her know that I'm in the corner just curled up crying.
Right.
Just disappointed. I'm just tore up.
Hey, Dana, give me an idea of what does it look positive or negative? What's going on over there?
Looks like it's ringing, and he has yet to say anything to anybody.
Okay, fair enough.
If you hear him making cat noises, they don't talk at first, see, Willie? It's true. They make meowing and stuff like that. That's their language, the two of them.
I didn't need to hear that.
Here's naughty insurance agent Jesus, who says, today's comics are annoying with the yelling. See Willie is a throwback.
I am.
I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I am.
Okay.
I'm a throwback.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I work the stage. I walk around. I don't pick on people. I talk to people, but I don't pick on them just to kind of get a base of what I'm going to talk about next. But no, yeah, I love that.
Josh thought the comic at Randy Shaver's fundraiser a couple months ago was going to pick on him, so he left.
Oh, no, that's not true. It was when I had to leave, I thought, oh, no, he's going to give me crap. Because
You were so nervous.
anytime somebody stood up, it didn't matter what it was, he was going after him.
That is,
I've seen that.
That's in our playbook.
Yeah, that's
and I understand.
Right.
I understand. It was kind of like we had to get home to relieve my mother-in-law of the babysitting,
Right.
And so I'm like, he's going to go after us because he ripped on everyone.
Oh, wow.
No, go, Wapple?
No. All right.
I truly believe that Janel sets you above just what a regular stand-up comedy. I'm not just saying that. I truly believe that's why she didn't realize what she was saying.
She's very fond of you,
Oh, yeah, we all are. I mentioned we were lucky enough to meet you because I saw you, and you're one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Easily.
Thank you.
Easily.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, way to make up for her, man. But she's still on my list.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It was a cold.
I'm going to send her like one of those like random texts. You need to call me.
Yeah, just leave it at that.
No, we need to talk.
Today.
No.
We'll try her phone again when we go to commercial break. But what else is going on around here? See, Willie, Myles, school is back in session.
I know, leaving my neighborhood this morning, man, seeing kids standing out on the side of the road catching the bus. It's like, it's not even Labor Day. I don't remember. Did you guys go to school before Labor Day?
No.
Nope. This just started a couple years back, at least for my son. Yeah, it was weird. I thought my wife had it on the calendar wrong the first time.
Right.
We just had this conversation a couple days ago. That's bizarre to start school before Labor Day. It's wrong, in my opinion. We actually were talking yesterday a little bit with Brad Ryder, our pal Brad Ryder. He had to go to his first day of work yesterday. Brad is a college professor, believe it or not, and so yesterday was his first day back teaching the college kids. And this is great. At least I really enjoyed it. A listener texted in on your freshman year of college, anyone's freshman year of college. Do you have any specific memories, C. Willie, of your freshman year at St. Cloud State University? Anything specific?
Yeah.
Getting used to the dorm and all that. What was it like?
Well, just getting used to going to class. With nobody telling you to go.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I do. I remember getting checked in and stuff. It was weird. And just finding out where everything is. That's the tough part. I think when you're
going from a small town school to a campus.
Right. You're coming from, you ain't even from the state. You know what I mean? Not from the city. You rolled in and you wake up. And luckily I was there in August because I was there for football camp.
Okay.
Whatever, training camp. But
gave you some time to warm up.
A little bit. But then you move to a whole different dorm when it starts. And then it's all new. Yeah. School is different, man.
A listener sent in their nicknames, a couple of the nicknames that they have for your freshman year in college. The first was 13th grade. I really got a kick out of that.
Oh, yeah.
And high school with cigarettes.
Right.
That's how they describe freshman year. We got to take a break, but I understand we have a guest on the telephone. Hello, this is the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Who is this?
Hello?
Hi, Janel. We were just talking about you.
Oh, gosh. Now what, I wonder?
Janelle?
Yes?
C. Willi Myles is in studio with us.
Oh, boy.
You done it this time.
And we had to tell him. We wouldn't be good friends if we didn't tell him what you said yesterday about stand-up comics. Would you repeat to C. Willi while he's listening what you said about stand-up comedy yesterday?
Yeah, so we were having a conversation about things we felt were overrated, and you asked me to name something, and I had to give it some thought, and then I said, I know I might take some heat for this, but I really don't think stand-up comics are funny.
Yeah.
You did say that.
You heard it right from the Faribault, the Norwegian ox's mouth. C. Willi, your response now. C. Willi responded already amongst the 4 or 5 of us here. We've been talking about it a little bit, but this is his first chance to address you directly.
You say this about your radio husband? You think you can do this to me?
Of course you're the exception. Of course you're the exception. And you know that because I have come to your show, I think, at least 2 or 3 times. And so you know that I think you're hilarious.
Yeah. I said that. I said, she stood right there in my face. She gave me a hug and said, you were awesome. You were great. I'm like, how? I can't believe another word that comes out of your mouth.
And as we already mentioned, after Janelle made that comment about stand-up comics don't entertain her, when we said, what about C. Willi Myles, your face did drop, did it not, Janelle?
It did, because I wasn't thinking of him at all. I was thinking of, like, I think I mentioned Netflix specials that I'll watch them and I don't even smile because I don't think any of them are funny.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking about C. Willi at all.
And I agreed with you at the time.
Yeah.
I aligned myself with you already, and I don't want you to leave you hanging. I agreed with what you were saying yesterday. So we're just trying to make sure that this relationship isn't broken. How are you feeling about it right now, C. Willi?
I'm feeling much better right now. Then I heard her voice, she's made it clear that she wasn't. Had I been sitting next to you, that's what I said. Had it been on a day that I've been here, and that's my fault. That's my fault. I should have been here. But Daddy had to go out and pick up that paper.
See, Willi, do you have anything to say about TV reporters? Your thoughts as a profession?
Oh, I find them very engaging. I find them very engaging, and that's the work that regular people can't do.
Yeah, very talented group of people.
Underrated, you might say.
It's wildly under. It's a calling.
It's not a job, it's a calling.
It's a calling.
Janel, Klein, thanks for coming on to Face the Music, I guess,
You're brave.
in a sense. Yeah, you're very brave.
You're right.
What did Wapple interrupt? What are you doing?
Well, nothing. I was just hanging out, but I just want to tell C. Willi that I think that there's nothing that can touch our friendship. I think we're stronger than this.
Well, granted, baby.
All right. I feel a whole lot better about the situation. Thanks, Jungle Jane. All right, go do whatever you do.
Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
All right,
you too.
Half-assed Morning Show 93X.
Oh, yeah, we're wrapping things up here in just a few minutes. C. Willi Myles is with us on the program. We've been talking about comedy, on air, off air. C. Willi, have you had a chance to work over your career? Have you had a chance to work with anyone that you looked up to as a comic? Did you have, wow, I'm on the same card as this guy or that gal? And if not, well, first off, what would be the answer to that?
Yes.
And who was that person?
Well, when you go back and think about it now,
yeah,
it was Bill Cosby.
Oh, really?
But that was before the whole.
I understand. Yeah.
Escapee and drinking.
Yeah. We've talked. Don't feel funny about it. We've had conversations about Bill Cosby on this show where. I mean, it just is what it is. The man was brilliant.
Right. And so
but unfortunately, in his personal life, I guess he was a nightmare.
It was.
Yeah.
And he was 2 people. And the person that I got to know was a guy that worked with me and told me about my show and said he'd heard my whole show and he thought it was hilarious. So he asked me if I wanted to open for him. And I said, absolutely. And the first thing that he did for me was took my closing bit and told me to open with it.
Oh, yeah?
And the bit that I did before my closing bit, he said, that's your second piece. And I was scared to death because as you learn as a comedian, is that you build to a crescendo. And he was like, no, it's all a crescendo. He said it's a dance and you're going to do this the whole time. He said you should have nothing in your repertoire that you can't leave the stage on with a round of applause.
Okay.
And that's what taught me to be, and he said that's the difference between being an entertainer and a comic.
So he taught you some valuable things.
Yeah, and it was the thing that you said you would, as a comedian, when you run into someone that big, and you never thought for one moment you'd ever work with that guy. And I did. And then I got to work with Sinbad, who was not just a idol, but he was a friend. You know what I mean? But we were the same type of entertainers, though, too. But,
Interesting.
But honestly, if I had to be honest, the most fun I ever had and the biggest acts I ever opened for was like the Temptations, Aretha Franklin.
Oh, cool.
When you go on tour with these people, them are legends. These are the people my parents listened to.
Yeah.
And to me to phone my mom and dad and say, you're not going to believe who I'm working with tonight.
Oh, that's got to feel good.
And I can put Aretha Franklin on the phone with my dad.
So,
you know what I mean? Just like, can you just say hi?
So, like David Ruffin?
No, it was after him.
After David Ruffin.
Yeah.
So, but
this is Otis. This is a new Temptations from the
okay.
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, Otis Williams is last.
Otis Williams was still there.
He's the surviving member.
Okay, right.
So,
he's still around, isn't he?
He is.
And I've said this before on this program, if you haven't watched the VH1 documentary on the Temptations,
oh my God,
it's one of the greatest music not a documentary, sorry. It's a movie about their lives as a group. It's one of the greatest rock and roll, whatever, music-related movies I have ever seen. It is so well done.
Right.
And their story is so interesting and tragic and wonderful all at the same time. It's got to be 20 years old now, this movie.
Absolutely. If you want to see a movie that looks close to it, 5 Heartbeats.
It rings a bell.
Look up that's Robert Townsend movie that he made on a credit card. And it's not the Temptations biopic or nothing, but he took it straight from their life.
Yeah.
Because that's who they were, and that's how they kind of did things. He was the founder, but he was like the least, talented one.
Right.
Not that Otis is not a lead singer is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the lead singer, but Otis Williams set the tone. He said, there will never be a person bigger than the Temptations.
He was kind of the boss of the operation. Right. You worked with Aretha Franklin.
Oh, well, man, I started with her at Mystic Lake.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin, the Temptations, the OJs.
Okay.
Ray Charles.
Oh, wow.
Get the hell out of here.
Ray Charles, when they was doing the biopic, when that's when Jamie Foxx was doing the biopic for him at that time.
Unbelievable.
And for the guy to ask me if I knew Jamie Foxx, I go, yeah, and I had to tell him the horrible story.
The horrible story?
Of me and Jamie Foxx in Milwaukee.
Do we know that story?
No, I don't think so. We were in Milwaukee, and we were doing a concert, and he pulled out the piano. And that's when he had that song out called Infatuation. But people didn't come to hear him sing. Everybody was like, man, Eric Benet? Put that piano away and tell us some jokes. Bring out Wanda. We want to see Wanda from In Living Color.
So it didn't go over well?
No, they booed him.
Oh, no.
Oh, dude.
It was sad. But I didn't tell him the whole story. I just told him I worked with him. I only worked with him once.
And the guy he's terrific singer and everything, but the crowd just wasn't expecting.
But they bought tickets to a comedy show. They don't want to hear you sit and sing your... You know what I mean? They say go on a concert tour with your music and see how many tickets you sell.
Right. Hey, is Adam Sandler listening? You know what I'm saying? I mean? Yeah. Go up there and do comedy. We don't have to see your friggin' guitar playing.
Oh, my God. That was hilarious.
For my money, there's no scene in movie history better than Ray Charles and the Blues Brothers.
Absolutely.
Singing, what the hell song is it that he did? Do-do-do-do-do. Well, I heard about the fella you've been dancing with all over the neighborhood. Come on, what the hell's the name of that song? Why didn't you ask me, baby? Didn't you think I could? Shake a tail feather? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just, I smile the entire time, and I've seen that movie 375 times.
That's a great scene. I love Ray Charles.
Oh, man, that's incredible.
Can I do I have time to tell a quick story?
Yeah, what the hell?
So this is how he got me. So I'm doing a show down and we're at the State Theater in Minneapolis, and his handler came up and said, "Hey, Ray would like to talk to you before you go on stage. He just wants to meet you. He always meets his opening act."
I would have messed my pants.
I know. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me get, I'll be right down. He goes, no, he'll come here. I'm like, why would he walk up here to my little cubby hole of a dressing room? He's got a palace down there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So
spider hole.
I had him. So I found out that day that I was going to open for him for the next 3 shows. I didn't know. So my people set me up, and so he said, "You start in Minneapolis." I said, "Okay, cool." So I go out just like the wrestler you were talking about, Ahmed. I go out and buy a brand new. I got this suit, man. It is just absolutely royal blue.
Yeah.
Because this is Ray Charles, and in blue, I know he loves blue. I'm dressed to the nines. Ray Charles comes and knock on the door. I walk in, he grabs my hand. He goes, "Yeah, I'm Ray Charles." I was like, "I know who you are." I said, "I'm your opening act. It was so nice to meet you." He goes, "My man, that is one hell of a blue suit you got on there." And I went, "Well, thank you, sir." And he just looked back and he went, "Ha! Got him." Then I realized the man's blind.
Right.
So his handler came down and told him what color I was wearing. He told me, don't feel bad. I did that to Stevie too.
That's hilarious.
He said, "You go up there and you kill him, baby."
That's a pretty good imitation right there.
Yeah, I just love Ray Charles, man. He is just one of my favorite people of all time.
And the Jamie Foxx movie is outstanding.
Oh my God,
Absolutely.
he nailed it.
And cried my eyes out.
He did. I did. It was a great depiction.
Those are awesome stories, C. Willie. We appreciate you coming by as always.
Always, man. I love you guys.
Yeah,
man.
and thanks for such short notice too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
Really appreciate it.
That's an easy drive in the morning.
Well, you should do it more.
Coffee.
Congratulations to Monster Truck Jesus and Monster Truck Jesus getting married on Friday from Bovine, or that'd be tomorrow, from Bovine Hoof Trimming Jesus, and happy 62nd to Duff.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
It is savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals that can save you thousands. Visit standardheating.com for all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.